Welcome to Limit Break Radio and the 2018 Final Fantasy XIV FanFest After Party and the final, for real, last episode of Limit Break Radio.
This is it. There's no more.
Yeah, not too bad for a failing podcast, am I right?
You know, we've been failing since, what,
Failing upward.
Yes,
be honest.
Failing upward.
Sorry, Reddit, I don't think that word means what you think it means.
We've been the podcast equivalent of falling up the stairs.
Yeah.
Pretty much
sure.
for...
That's exactly what it is.
It's been quite a trip up the stairs. My face hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here broadcasting live from the Hyperx Esports Arena at the Luxor in Las Vegas. We've got tons of people that are going to be coming through. We've got tons of other content creators that are going to be coming and talking to you about all of the exciting announcements that went down today at FanFest.
And probably talking trash about us.
Sorry, exciting announcements?
Okay, all the announcements.
The trailer was pretty cool.
Interesting announcements.
Before we actually talk about it, let's take a second and listen to some of the clips that we got from the floor of the 2018 Final Fantasy XIV Fan Festival. And then there'll be some editing magic that happens in there. So exciting stuff happening on the floor of the FF14 Fan Fest this year.
That was frankly the best audio I've ever listened to.
I enjoyed it immensely.
I thought so.
I hope so, because as of recording this part of the show, we haven't done any of those interviews yet.
Oh, so you guys are really setting yourselves up. It better be good.
Wait. So
Well,
Nika?
you did interviews. You did some interviews today, right? Didn't you?
No, I went back to the room and slept, man.
Yeah,
I'm on like the tail end of this plague thing. What about Nika? She had the handheld.
She had a handheld. I have no idea.
I don't have access to
Where is Nika?
Why
am I here?
Yeah,
Aren't you Nika?
Why is
No.
Niscalia? I mean,
You got the weird hair.
Yeah.
I agree,
That's
and
what
I am
Nika
the
was
other half
wearing.
of Team Nikalia, but I'm
Come
not
on,
her.
That hasn't been a thing forever. You guys broke up
true.
the band a while ago.
The band just
Now
kind
it's
of
Nika
disappeared.
position.
Is that a thing? Did I miss that?
I mean, they're the ones
Well,
taking up the mantle.
oh,
so,
They're the last two left.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How did you give her the first half of that?
It just makes. Well,
Why?
I mean,
Why isn't
it can't be
Juxtakyanian? Why not?
Yeah.
Juxta.
juxta.
Juxtica?
Juxtica?
Juxtica. I don't hate Juxtica.
Yeah.
You need to take the reins on this, man.
No, because see, if she's first, then she has to take the reins.
But
and
then
I
she's
just
going to
host.
drive it into the ground.
And I wouldn't.
That's a fair point.
But it would be hilarious.
Well, it's gonna be hilarious either way because I'm still involved.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So, before we talk about everything that we saw out at the keynote and out at FanFest earlier today, let's talk about just this kind of moment that we're sitting in as we are about to finish 13 years worth of work.
Well, this is the nicest place we've ever broadcasted for. I'm glad we saved that for the very last episode.
Did you guys ever think that within the same picture, Limit Break Radio's nice banner right here would be up alongside something like HyperX?
No.
That's
I did not ever think that.
That's a
That's
new
a
feeling. That's a
Yeah.
new feeling.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I mean, it is so humbling to have done this show for as long as we did, and to still have an audience at the end of it.
That really is the most shocking part.
That is the
After
thing
all
that
the shit
blows
that
my
we've
mind.
done, yeah.
Exactly, yes. After all of the massive shit that we've talked, we have not burned as many bridges as I thought we would have at this point.
Yep, the number of people coming up and introducing themselves is obviously not necessarily a new feeling, right? But
Sure.
again, this is the biggest party we've put on. There was a lot of people out here at FanFest. There were a lot of people who were coming to visit who didn't even necessarily get to come to FanFest, just coming to the party.
Right.
And I've had a lot of people that'll introduce themselves, and I'm like, who do I know you as in game or in the Twitch chat?
Or do I know you from Checkpoint?
And
or do I know
and
you?
they're just like, oh no, I just listened, so you wouldn't know me. And it's so great to be able to, I think, get this chance to talk to a contingent of fans that we normally don't have access to.
No, you're totally right. And that's one of the things that I've always loved about going out to FanFest is that, we obviously, we have a great relationship with our audience. We have, the regulars in the Twitch chat all the time, and that's always so cool. But it's moments like this where we get to come out here and genuinely interact with all of the FF14 community, where you really actually get a sense of how many people listen without joining the chat room.
Yeah.
Or, because, you get a ton of that. Like
people who literally just come up and say, and you are from the chat, and they just go, oh, I've never spoken in chat before, or I've never attended live. I just download the show.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I've never been able to tune in.
Shout out to Sam and her boyfriend, whose name I forgot.
Of course you remembered her name.
It's one of those things where it's like, you really never I mean, even doing the show live and having download numbers, you never really do get a sense of what a show like this means to someone,
Yeah, and not just to the people who listen, but to the people who do the show as well. It's humbling to Robbie, you and I were out talking to fans earlier today, and just everyone who comes up and they introduce yourself, and I'm like, oh great, I'm a Scalia, and they're like, yes, I
haven't introduced myself to anyone as
Scalia.
I know that they know me.
I do, because I feel awkward if I don't. And then
it's weird when someone says, hi, I'm such and such, and you just say, oh great,
I'm Juxta, and they're like, yeah, I know. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do?
So when you shake their hand, it's like, all right, and I know you as from the chat or from the game, right?
Okay,
because then maybe then you can make some connections. It's actually been really kind of sweet and sad to see him out interacting with people, like genuine happiness on his face, right?
Oh yeah,
it's so much fun.
It's so much fun, and a little bit the buzz is coming off. But
so is.
He said the saddest thing. He's like, this is the last time anyone's going to recognize me as being famous, so I have to get as much of it as I can.
Oh.
I'm taking all these selfies, got the duck face, got videos.
You're duck facing?
Oh,
what year is it?
It's 2018. I'm bringing it back, baby.
Join us after the break where Juxta shows us how to dab.
Stop it. So, yeah, I cannot properly put into words what exactly this show has meant to me over 13 years, Like, it's
shaped who I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Knowing you from back in college, absolutely.
Okay. So I guess we're all just going to cry now instead of waiting until the end of the night.
No, we'll double back on this.
Yeah. We'll cry again later.
We'll cry multiple times, okay?
Big cry fest. Got to get it all out. Got to get it all out.
That's right.
Honestly, I think the thing that's the saddest for me, right? Because some of these people I talk to, and Checkpoint isn't everybody's cup of tea. I get that. That's fine. Everyone's like, I'm going to miss you guys and what you do and whatnot. And I realize it's not going to be the same. But there are some people, who have genuinely tried Checkpoint, and it's not their thing. So for them, even though there is more of us to be had, for them this is actually it. And I hope that a few months down the line, maybe they'll get the itch to check it out, and they'll come back and it won't, they will be able to find something in it. But
and
the
maybe
idea that we're potentially losing some fans is that I think that's what hits home the most.
It bothers me more than it should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you're right, Robbie, or Kahlo, whatever. I don't know what we're.
Do the boundaries matter?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Microphone.
Don't use my real name.
Like my balls.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I do miss. Oh, I mean, this is nice and all. Like, the studio's cool and all, but I mean,
we don't have our drop board.
Yeah, the drop board really, you miss out on an element not having that. But no, I mean, yeah, like, it bums me out and it frustrates me as a creative person, as someone who's trying to.
You feel like you're letting someone down.
Yes,
because we don't have something that they like. Right. Yeah.
And it's sort of ephemeral because it's hard for them to exactly put into words what's missing, and it's hard for us to really pin down what we would need to change to be able to appeal to them. And maybe that's just there isn't. That's that middle ground.
For them, it might be the fact that it was FF14 content or Final Fantasy themed content, which spoke to them. Or it could be Juxta and Nika.
Okay, the Juxta and Nika part that I get. I refuse to believe that people don't want to listen to us just because we're not talking about FF15. Because most of the time, people come in 14 and
we
don't
never talk about 15.
And they don't.
We bash it a lot.
But they don't agree with our opinion. So it's not like they're coming to hear good things about FF14.
Well, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if it's so they're still going to get the disagreement from us. I mean, really, the only thing that's being toned down is your saltiness.
But at the same time, though, one of the things that I heard from a lot of people multiple people as I was out here was that, I'm sorry to see you guys go. I haven't listened in a long time because it was like I could either enjoy the game or I could enjoy the show, but I couldn't do both. And it's sort of like, and that's true. That's true though.
We get it.
It's true though because
you guys are ruining the game for me.
It's one of those things.
Stop talking truth.
Once you see it, once it's been laid bare, it's really hard to be able to work up the same level of enthusiasm.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
It's absolutely true. And, we held steadfast to the concept of this show the entire time that it was on.
I think it's probably safe for us to finally pull back the curtain a little bit.
Oh, really? We really want to do this?
I think we can do it. So
okay. All right,
I recall a night about 6 or 7 years ago, where we were sitting in the Black Lotus talking.
Yep.
And we were sitting around talking about Final Fantasy podcasts and what LBR was and whatnot. And we literally said, you know something? How come every show in Final Fantasy XIV sounds exactly the same right now?
Yep.
Where is the show that is willing to just be dicks kind of about everything,
right?
And be the bad guys in the community? And like, we've never been afraid to be that.
Well, and it was also a means of survival too, because coming back and starting it up, everybody was doing what we had already done in 11. How do we set ourselves apart? How do we get people to come back? How do we make a splash?
Yeah.
And it was by, becoming the Howard Sterns of FF14.
Being the bad guys.
Being brutally honest.
Brutally honest. It's not necessarily being about bad guys.
And it
we
was
would hype up the game
it was
when
about,
it was hyped.
It was about being bad guys because it was being
afraid to be bad guys.
Right. Well, the concept
the
concept of Limit Break Radio when we brought it back for 14 was to do the NWO heel turn.
Yeah.
Because we were the only show, save for maybe Aetherite Radio, to be uniquely put in a position to be able to do that.
Right. We had the face audience coming back from LBR 1.0.
And we maintained that face audience the entire time we were there for 11.
Yep.
And to come back and switch it up, it worked in the same way that wrestling storylines were.
It was still about being honest, because I don't want people to hear this and be like, oh, I knew that all this time all that saltiness was just a gag. Again, Juxta points out, on our first Heaven's Ward episode, we were so hyped about that game. So when we loved something, we loved it.
But when we didn't have Square Enix to fight against, we found another foe, and it was either Guildwork or Reddit or
or Reddit again,
or the mods on Reddit.
Whoever it had to
Reddit
be
in general.
Yeah,
Reddit was like our.
It was our punching bag.
And at the end of the day. Or ourselves, or we would turn it in on ourselves and go inwards and 2v2 or whatever it happened.
Now, if you guys want to know what was gags, and obviously you haven't seen this in a while because you guys started to call us on our bullshit. But whenever we would have huge meltdowns,
we got away with doing that 3 times.
Was it 3 times?
It was 3 times we got away with doing that, and on the third one we had to sit in the green room afterwards and just be like, so we can't do this again.
It's never going to be able
to we're never going to be able to pull that joke off again. And sure enough, we never were able to do it again.
Something else that was always really fun for us to do, and we have had in planning for a long time, and obviously now we'll never get a chance to do, but the Guardians was always a short bit that we did here and there.
Oh, to bring back
and we had in the can for a while, trying to nail down the Guardian News Network, GNN, which was going to be an entire episode worth of Guardian.
Of Guardian stuff. And I mean, for those of you who are out there and enjoying the final episode here tonight, I want you to know what the original plan for the end of LBR was. Our original concept for ending the show.
This is true.
Was to do
100% true.
Very true.
Last Sunday was to do a regular show, like always, and then just disappear full stop and never come back.
To hype up the final show, right?
Yeah.
Join us next week for the last show. It's going to be the biggest, baddest thing you've ever seen.
Have all these awesome guests.
And then when that show comes that day, we take everything down.
Yeah,
we take everything down.
We turn off the website effectively,
we
disappear off social media.
We erase ourselves from the internet as best we can.
That was the original concept for how we were going to end this show. So
it would have been an amazing
It would have.
It would have been amazing. But you
then
know
we got this opportunity.
How do you turn this down? I think we made the right choice.
I think of the two, I think that's a better way to go about it.
Yeah,
definitely.
So obviously we're here at the HyperX Esports Arena at the Luxor in Las Vegas for this epic after party. I don't know if we can get a shot around the arena and just some of the attendees that are starting to come in. It's epic because the FanFest is just kind of letting out, like the piano concert.
The concert, yeah, is wrapping up.
So we're getting plenty of people filing in now, but yeah, it's so exciting that we get this opportunity to close out the show in a first of all, the first title sponsored esports arena in the nation.
Yeah,
and that happened today. Or yesterday,
just
like
this weekend.
just this weekend.
The ink is still wet.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that to me is a huge honor to be able to be here around something that big and monumental. I mean, that's a segment next week for Checkpoint.
Right.
Totally.
Actually, talking about the idea of how monumental this is, our last one. SlyAKAGreyFox, Joe, you're looking very good today. You're dressed up nice and dapper.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
Wore.
What happened?
Chris, what happened with you?
What? At least I'm repping Limit Break Radio.
I got a pin. You gave me a pin.
I got a pin too.
Right,
but
this is our last hurrah, and you come in.
Why are you dressed like an intern? We made you a host.
I have the shirt on, and you know what? I came into tonight wanting to get drunk, AF, lit, fire emoji 100. All right. And then you drag me back here, and you're like, "Oh, let's just talk and be in front of a camera for like 8 hours."
Okay,
Did you think we were gonna do the thing where we brought the game up and we're like live from Eorzea?
I thought I was gonna be super drunk, and I wouldn't remember anything.
Okay, we've been planning this for months now. So at what point did you miss that we were going to be doing a show with all the content creators? That includes us. We create content.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd come in and be like, "Hey, I'm Juxta. Man, I'm so drunk. All right, peace out, yo." And I go get drunk more. Not this whole...
He was planning the 5-minute cameo.
Yeah, I'm not sitting in front of this
You came to
super
Vegas
awesome...
for a 5-minute cameo?
Who do you think you are,
He came for
Stanley?
the booze, actually.
Wow.
You have booze at home.
But it's not free booze.
We paid for this.
Flight.
I mean...
And the flight.
I mean,
technically...
We paid for this.
Oh, sorry. I paid for my own flight and hotel.
No, we gave him the money to be able to do it.
I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I place all of this blame on you guys because I don't know why you wouldn't just wear LBR shirts.
Why
for
didn't
LBR?
you wear? Why didn't you wear your
onesie?
the
my
onesie
God.
would have been fine.
Okay,
Where is your dildo, by the way?
It's okay. It's an action figure,
Sure.
and B,
Sure it is.
It got a lot of action, so
I assume Skrull still has it in unmentionable places.
I forgot that
yeah.
Skrull ended
Remember,
up with it.
It
It
vanished.
ended up in his mouth at one.
Yeah,
I
it
do
was
remember
in
that.
Skrull.
Yeah,
The action
vividly.
figure was in
The-
Skrull.
In fact, actually, yes, no, you're right. The last time that anyone had visual confirmation, it was indeed in Skrull.
That's true. There's a video clip of it.
Yeah.
By the way, have we
If he
limited
had
his
kept it-
drinking potential
Yeah,
tonight?
Well, if we had kept it in his mouth, he may have not puked as much.
Would have been able to put any alcohol down it.
I know.
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Hmm.
He would have found it well.
Now, all right. On a real note, though, I do feel sorry. Like, how does it feel right now, knowing that this is your peak? Like you're peaking right now.
Well, right now it feels wonderful and amazing, and it would be better if I could go back out there and be drunk.
How are you gonna feel like Monday? When you're waking up to go deliver pizza.
Dude, you know what? That's okay. I don't work Monday, and I actually had I don't work Mondays, but they scheduled me for Monday because of Thanksgiving, and this is a whole big deal because I have to have Monday off so I can go to my doctor's appointment. But we can't have 3 days notice. But you didn't give me any days notice.
We asked about this.
You know what? What were we talking about?
What were we talking
Exactly.
about? Yes, of course, the final episode of Limit Break Radio. We are closing it out in style here at the Hyperx Esports Arena at the Luxor in Las Vegas. We're kind of waiting for Nika to get here so that we can kind of talk about.
Oh God, we're waiting for Nika.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous proposition.
So normal show day as usual.
We're tap dancing.
She is waiting on her ride share to get over here.
Yeah, sure.
What if is it possible we can bring Kookie up here to talk a little bit?
We could probably bring Kookie
Is that a
up.
thing?
Hey,
you
get
can
up
do,
here.
Kookie? Come up here.
Everyone loves Kookie.
You put this whole thing together.
Yeah, she sure did.
This wouldn't even be 5% possible had it not been for you.
There's like I know there's like
look at her. She's got the headset. She's got her phone.
She's professional.
She's still producing.
She's actually achieved super producer status with the headset and everything.
Ultra producer.
Yeah.
And this is because of our fans. Like, had it not been for them, urging us to hire Kookie.
Kookie is one of the best stories that has come out of Limit Break Radio.
It's true.
Literally,
she's a Limit Break Radio miracle.
Yeah, she gets her start by sitting in the chat and posting links to things that we talk about.
Yeah.
And eventually the chat just goes #hire Kookie for like 3 months.
I am so glad that we had Kookie do that without us telling her to do that. That is
see.
definitely our decision. And
What?
I give ourselves props.
Kookie, what why? Like,
That's
why,
a good
why
question.
did you decide?
I don't think we've ever asked her this
what
question before.
brought you to Limit Break Radio, and what made you decide, you know what, I'm a part of this?
You guys are different and unique, of course. Why wouldn't I? I support
It's a nice
you
way of
guys.
saying that we're dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it wasn't about like she's like, hey guys, can I do this for you? You were literally just like, nah, I'm doing this now.
No. There's like 87 other people who's watching this Twitch right now. We are actually trying to set up a Twitch chat so you guys can see and interact.
Oh,
that would be
good.
nice.
Good.
That
That
would
would
be
make
great.
tap dancing a lot easier.
That would.
87
It would.
viewers.
87 people already
guys.
right
Hi.
here for the final episode.
Hey.
Trust me, we've got tons more people that'll be here hanging out here on the stream. Mr. Happy will be here.
Oh, this is gonna be a
Zeno's gonna
rodeo,
be here.
man.
I mean, eventually
Rodeo.
when we start tagging out people, this is going to be a whole big thing. So. It is super exciting. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here it comes.
Hey.
Look at this.
Hey.
Look at that.
Let's see.
Wow, no dark mode? Okay.
Perfect.
Just kidding. I love you. I don't
Thank
know who
you
you
so
are, but
much,
thank
Mike.
you. Oh, no!
Seriously?
Juxta strikes again. Hey.
Juxta's big mouth finally gets us in trouble. It only took
man.
13 years.
I'm sure my big mouth has gotten us into other kinds of trouble.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
See, you're welcome.
Yeah, it
Now,
was you.
now, if this is one of the first times, by the way, that you're joining us for what is the last episode of Limit Break Radio, you know,
Yes.
make sure you follow.
Where
us
have you
here.
been?
Make sure you follow us here at Checkpoint XP, because if you do want more of us after tonight, this is where you get it.
This is the only place to get it. Legally speaking, the only place you can get it.
That, well said.
Yes. So for those that might not actually be familiar with Checkpoint XP and what we do on the show, we are the nation's first syndicated show for esports and video games.
And it's actually worth noting, and I didn't even realize it until Christine posted about it on Twitter, that it was 2 years ago at our after party at FanFest that we first debuted Checkpoint for
That's
our
right.
fans.
Remember
It is.
the mixtape?
Playing
yeah.
the mixtape.
It's very true. So it is, you
It's
know,
weirdly come full circle.
It's full circle, you know, like we were so proud to be able to share that clip too. You know, that was after, I mean, about like 3 months worth of work that we had already put in on that before. I mean, 'cause we did 6 months off the air before we went on the air.
Yeah. Jolly Rancher Commander's comment. First time watching the show, you peeps don't look anything like I imagined all these years listening in on iTunes.
Well, and even if you watched on Twitch, if you haven't tuned into Checkpoint, yeah, we don't really ever have cameras on.
That's
for
fair.
just
That's
LBR.
fair.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you weren't a Final Encounter cast
you
listener
go.
or a Checkpoint listener, yeah, you wouldn't actually know what we look like.
Man,
We're sorry to disappoint.
Final Encounter Cast, that was a show that should, by all accounts, never have existed.
Correct.
I mean, it was.
But again, as all things with us, it was our viewers that made it happen.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
this is true. So when we started the Patreon, we were like, okay, we need some high-end goals that we'll never meet.
Hold on. First of all, yes, but I actually just got it because Limit Break Radio was sort of like the cutesy first form of a Pokemon evolution, right? And then Final Encounter Cast is like that sort of weird, awkward middle form where you're like, oh man, why? What? Exactly. And then Checkpoint, of course, is our final
Blastoise.
form.
Yeah.
You're saying Limit Break Radio is a cutesy first form of anything?
It was Squirtle. Yeah.
When it
like
was
what?
the 11
Grimer?
show. When it was the
Yeah,
11
okay,
show.
yeah, that's
it
fair.
absolutely was.
I believe that.
I mean, you know, on the second to last episode that we did, going back and listening to, what was that, episode number 7 of the original Limit Break Radio, the one that we juxtobered?
Oh, the 13.
13.
Episode 13.
How
Lucky
did I
number
sound like that? I don't understand. That still blows my mind.
The only thing that makes sense is the mic, and it's so funny too because remember how we used to treat that mic like this is my mic because I'm a Nero and I'm the show host and this is the awesome mic that I get, and then years later he's like motherfucker.
It came back to bite me.
Sure did. Honezord.
Somebody's Chromo Strife says Checkpoint Radio over Checkpoint XP. They're the same thing.
They
exact same thing.
Literally
same thing.
The exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you just don't like the name, which tough.
I mean, I think it's truly amazing just how many people have come out, not just for FanFest, but for the party as well.
Well, and seeing like when we were out there having a drink and someone walked by in a Checkpoint shirt, and I'm just like, who the. We don't sell that. How do you ever? What's a Checkpoint shirt? It was Dark Flux.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. You didn't see Dark Flux here? That's cool. Like, people who turned out. Watching on Twitter, seeing people say talk about the after party with as much excitement as FanFest.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like the event that they're coming for.
Zeno had tweeted out, that now the concert's wrapping up, he's heading over this way, and a bunch of the comments on there was, there's an after party. Where's the after party at?
Oh,
like,
honey,
I got you. Just so you know, those people out there in the Twitterverse, you ain't gonna get upstairs.
No, you're gonna have to be down with the riffraff.
That's right.
RSVP'd.
The peasants.
With the Fortnite players.
Unfortunate. But the VIP section has like 250 people scheduled to be in it.
278.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a lot of very important people.
Yep. Yeah. So, if you're wondering how kind of the show is going to be proceeding today, we don't really know. We're making this up as we go.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have outlined every show we have ever done, be it Final Encounter Cast, Limit Break Radio, or Checkpoint. There's no outline for today.
There's nothing.
Today we're just gonna go really easy, no outline, no prep work, just go
minimal effort.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean the amount of people that we have coming on, like the banner that Kooky helped all the content creators put together, all those logos on there, like all those people are showing up.
That's fair. This is the second easiest episode after episode 100 of Limit Break Radio. By the way, one of my favorite things about Limit Break Radio, and one of the things that I really think we should pride ourselves on with it is there was no suggestion too stupid for Limit Break Radio.
In fact, the guideline that we went by, that a Nero here went by, and this usually happened in the shower, he would come up with an idea and go, oh, that's stupid. We got to do it.
It's so stupid we have to do it.
It's too stupid not to do.
For years, any creative environment tries to have that policy of there's no idea too dumb, let's just talk it out and see if it works.
Right.
And that is something that, as much as we have occasionally gotten at each other or gotten at each other's throats over something, you've always been able to say I have this idea for a bit, can this work, and let's talk it out and see if it works. And that the idea of doing episode 100 where we just ditch Nika with a bunch, where we just ask some people to guest host and just ditch them.
Yeah.
That was literally a bit that we came up with 2 weeks before.
You know what? One of my top 10 favorite LBR moments came from that day when all the donations were coming through, and Joe Never Fails goes, "Is this going to go on the entire time?" Yeah, Joe. Yeah, it is.
And I mean, to your point earlier, Robbie, I totally get how Checkpoint is not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, right? I understand how not everyone sees exactly the same amount of kinetic energy, or
it's definitely different.
It is.
Sure.
It's different for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to the 11 days, there was still no one was telling us what to do. No one was even giving us advice, good or bad.
Well, and not even telling us what to do. We answered to nobody.
That's true.
We answered at the end of the day, if we crossed the line and it ended up ruining the show, we were all prepared for that to be the case.
It'd have been all right.
By the way, there were episodes of LBR where we sat down in the pre-show and kind of were like, all right, so if this goes badly, that's just it for us, by the way. This needs to go over right. This will be the hill we die on. So there were definitely episodes like that, and that is admittedly a freedom we don't have with Checkpoint.
No.
Where it's okay, this is literally all of our livelihoods. Maybe we're not going to take that chance.
Well, hold on, because we do still take risks.
We do.
But the difference is with LBR, we just dove in and whatever came of it.
We'll deal with it then.
Now, if there's something that we really want to cover, even if it feels like it might be a little bit dangerous or a little bit too provocative, we just have to sit down, and it's more a question of how do we go about this?
How do we
Right.
go about this without costing it our salaries?
Yeah.
Jolly Rancher Commander says, really going to miss the fake commercials. Those were the brainchild of Juxta,
That was,
to be honest.
yeah.
95% of those were mine.
I would
Those
say,
were, yeah.
Papa
maybe even more than
Woody.
that. Yeah,
Papa Woody did one,
Yep.
and Kahlo did
Paulo
one.
did one.
I think I did one too.
Have I only done one?
I think you've only done one.
Oh, okay.
Have you done one?
I think I've done one.
What did you do?
I did the Infinity War
remember.
one, which
Yeah.
is one of our better ones.
Papa did pull-up pops
Yeah.
for the diapers.
Oh, yeah.
Frumpy Raccoon did one.
Oh,
That's
right.
true.
That's
Yep.
what that's
But yeah, those have been pretty much you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, that's stretching my length of my creativity. I tell you
Yeah,
what.
you-
But dude, they were
have
always
to-
good.
And you have to
Oh,
always
whoa,
do
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa! Let's
Let's not go that far.
No.
All right, well, they were
Let's not say
always
things
good
we
when
can't
I
take
was
back.
there.
But here's the thing about being creative, Juxta. Even if you do put out some crap every now and then, you still got to keep doing it because you're not going to get to the gold nuggets if you don't dig through the dirt.
Well, yeah, you gotta
And
have.
no one remembers the crappy ones. That's the good news.
That's
yeah,
fair.
that's true.
Everyone
That's
remembers
fair.
the funny ones.
And you have to have crappy ones, so that way it makes the good ones look that much better.
That's true too.
See, it's strategy.
That was our strategy in putting you as a host.
Yeah. What?
You make the good people look good by putting a crappy one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kinda.
I don't think that's.
I mean, when
that's
we-
not the same thing.
When we bring you on as an intern for Checkpoint, that's pretty much you're an enhancement talent.
Which, by the way, like in all seriousness, because we've given it a few tries with some people. You know, we've I don't want to say interviewed a few people, but there have been potential people that were like, how could we use them?
Yeah.
Nobody fills or I think gets that intern role or like
Yeah.
that comedic timing.
We-
Nobody
I'm
is
great
Juxta.
at filling holes. Let me tell you.
See what I mean?
So
Thankfully,
no,
nobody is Juxta.
I mean, honestly, if there's a way that we can get you in like one day a week,
Checkpoint.
that would be awesome.
Yep.
It would be.
Because you would make at least one or two national segments.
Yeah, and just like having that intern role once again.
Yeah.
Or,
No,
or,
and
or
that- but
your
that's the
your
thing,
off
though.
mic character,
Well, that's the
which is a
thing.
staple, by the way, for normal radios and morning shows. Everybody has that.
You would be back to the intern.
Yeah.
But are you allowed to do penis jokes on Checkpoint?
We are
No.
well, we have to
Like-
we have to be very careful.
Very careful.
That is
90%
skirting a
of my
line with the
repertoire.
Well, like you said, you have to stretch your creative talent.
Foos,
You got to try new stuff.
Like a
there's
dick.
there's a great bit that I hear, or a great drop that I hear on the radio from, I think it's from Kevin Harlan in the NFL, where literally he was calling Monday Night Football, and he starts to come, and then he pulls out, and I'm like, that's amazing, because it's referring to football, and they play it all the time. I'm like, that's really, you can get away with that? Interesting.
Well, it's context.
It's yeah.
really what it is.
And believe me, I know all about swallowing.
Oh, I'm not gonna hear that drop anymore.
Sad.
And believe me, I know all about swallowing. We have had some stupid bits over.
We had some of the dumbest.
I literally think about that all the time. Like the FFFL,
Oh, that was the best.
FFFL.
we did not one but 2 seasons of that hot trash of a segment.
Because it was a great filler,
It was
man.
so good.
Hey, we need to kill 15 minutes on the show. Got it.
Yeah.
Square Enix didn't announce anything again this week. That's shocking. Here's more FFFL. God.
Yeah.
Square Enix took the lead on that, and they're like, okay, we can't have any more of that. Let's just push cash shop shit.
It
Talk-
does seem to be where we're at.
You know-
at these days.
Talking about other great Juxta moments and where your latent, somehow uncanny, brilliant shines through once every year. The Who's Tanking Titan.
That doesn't really count.
Now-
though,
now-
'cause I just stole that.
Now, and here's what
Excuse me, parody.
Here's what I've noticed about all of his good bits is that all of the good ones are when he's parodying something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, that's
Nika Blart, Maul Tank.
hey. Listen,
Nika Blart was great.
listen.
I
Weird Al
only have-
Yankovic
Yeah, I
has been
only
famous
have-
for 30 years, man.
That's the only reason I am any good at it is because I am a devout Weird Al cultist.
That man has not aged in 30 years,
He
by the
so
way.
hasn't.
He
He-
looks
he
exactly the
unages.
same.
Well, I mean, like
That's what happens when you have money. You get to pay for unaging serum.
or just eye laser surgery.
I mean, that could be it too. Yeah.
That-
Andy shaved the mustache.
Anyway,
I love
How
Weird
did we
Al.
get to Weird Al?
Dude, look, people in the chat, Ash David Pinello, they loved the FFFL.
Yeah, that was the best bit.
yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun. A lot of like, for a bit that literally amounted to, hey, why don't we just fantasy draft Final Fantasy characters? and we'll let people vote on who would win in a fight. On what do we use? Straw poll?
Straw
Twitter.
poll
Straw
the
poll.
first time, and then Twitter the second time.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to cheat on Twitter, let me tell you.
By the way, I think we can officially announce that the 1 week that you and I faced off on Straw Poll, how many times did you reset your IP to vote?
That actually wasn't the way that I did it. I would basically just send messages to people on my Facebook, be like, "Hey, vote for this. Hey, vote for this. Hey, vote for this. Hey, vote for this."
I just
Which
reset my
made
IP
it
like 12
really,
times.
Really awkward, by the way, when I was the Kalo Klux Klan. So thank you for that, guys. First of all,
right, 'cause you
first
were
of all,
asking
there
when we
were-
named
first
about
of all,
that.
there were
I
certain
forgot
people
about
on
that
my
shit.
friends list that I couldn't send that to, and everyone else I had to preface it with a really long paragraph.
I had forgotten about that
I
bit.
forgot about that.
the
Holy crap.
real MVP though is Saskia, because he's always like, if you remind me earlier in the week and I'm at work, I have a bunch of computers that I can log in and vote on it for
Oh, there we go. But again, you talk about a joke where we're like, hey, so we're gonna name Kalo this, and it'll either be really funny or it might be the end of the show.
It might, yeah, that might be
But
the
we're
demise.
just gonna do it and see what happens.
Let's see,
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
There was a period of time when we
I
were
hate
starting
you guys
Checkpoint
so
where we had to be
much.
like, I hope no one goes through our past with too fine tooth of comb.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything there that we can't justify.
That's
Yeah,
true.
no, it was all done.
Juxtify.
It was all done in the pursuit of humor. That's all. I mean, and that was like one of the core tenets of Limit Break Radio that I always really loved, was that, like even if we didn't have information to be able to drive moments on the show, we had humor. We had
Right, and one thing I heard about too is we'd get the message a lot of times where we'd say something that was factually inaccurate, and they'd be all over it. And it's like, you know what? I'm not too worried about being right. I'm just worried about being entertaining.
Yes.
If we
Well,
say
well,
something that's
well,
factually
plus-
inaccurate occasionally, whatever.
In today's political climate,
You don't have to be right anymore.
Really? Come on.
Come
Come
that's
on.
fair.
hashtag alternative facts.
By the way, someone just brought up racist roulette.
Yeah,
Another
another one where we were like, yeah, this could ruin us.
When I
This could
spoke
ruin us.
earlier about no bit being too stupid, that was us sitting in the green room, and I was going, hey, what if we did the Wheel of Intolerance, where we assign typically racist stereotypes to different
to
races
digital,
in
digital
FF14.
races that no one
Can
could
we
possibly
do that?
be offended
I think
by.
we can do that. That's pretty dumb.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do it.
Oh, we did all sorts of just horrendously stupid shit, and all of it was like again, every time it was just in the pursuit of like, well, this kind of made me giggle. Like,
Yeah, curious people in the chat over at twitch.tv/checkpointxp. Throw out some of your top favorite LBR moments.
Oh,
Even as far back as 1.0.
Yeah.
Or as in Limit Break Radio
yeah.
1.0, the FF11
So the
days.
FF11 days.
There was
Reminisce
none.
with us.
There was none.
Let's go down. I don't know. Do you remember the closet bit?
I do.
The ventilation
I
shaft?
remember that.
I think.
So, well, do you remember what spurred that on? Do you remember how we came to the conclusion that we were going to do that?
I remember that Irufalian's whole bit was that he was growing mushrooms in the closet.
Well, no. So, okay, when we were at Central, we had a room in the basement that we recorded in, and it was like a meeting room, right?
Yeah.
So they had
Conference room.
Yeah, it was a conference room. So they had a big desk to set up on, all our mics up on, whiteboard to be able to write stuff. But it was a college campus, so there was one time where we went in there, and there was just this whole laundry basket, one that has wheels on it, and it was just full of junk and props.
Props, yeah.
Yeah, and props
Yeah.
and stuff. And we were like, what can we do with this to try to make it into something? And I think that's what it was, where that moment where you hear us and it sounds like we're forcing open the door against trash. That's us taking I think it was a wiffle ball bat.
Yeah.
And just stirring the junk around in this thing. And it was always all about how could we
What can we do today?
yeah, what could we do to make a moment? So much of Limit Break Radio was predicated on a single moment, tent poling around
Right,
a single moment, and then we would fill it in with various facts and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Rude
So,
33, by the way, asking in the chat how many fucking colors I have in my hair. It's 7.
There's 7?
There's 7
Wow.
in my hair currently.
Someone finally decided to show up though. Our last episode ever, and she's late.
Which is typical.
Uh-huh.
Typical.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to fill in.
Who's the lucky one who gets to tap out?
I think it's this.
You
one.
guys got to talk about FanFest. Have
That's
fun
right.
with that. I'm going to go drink.
We've still got FanFest discussions to run
Juxter
down.
really wants to drink.
I'm so not even remotely buzzed anymore.
Aw.
I'm so professional now. It's sad.
So
Freaked out by this, actually.
it's
Welcome to the big times, Nika.
Wow, these lights are bright.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Oh, there's a video and
Yup.
everything. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
We got the
Hi,
chat.
guys.
Got
you
the chat
please-
room right here.
Could you please act like a professional?
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
once, Nika. Just one time.
Sure.
So, Nika joins us now here at the broadcast booth at the HyperX Esports Arena at the Luxor in Las Vegas. As we just kind of
I like your Sabrina cosplay, by the way.
Thank you. It's also 2B.
we started by reminiscing about the show because we didn't have all of the FF14 talkers here yet.
Right.
So we were waiting.
All of them, me?
We have been waiting on you to be able to actually
hi, I'm
talk
here now.
about what was announced out at FanFest. But before we get to that, what has been your favorite, most memorable moment for LBR?
Yeah,
Put you
'cause
on the
LBR,
spot
yeah,
right
let's-
now.
It's coming to an end, Nika. This
Yeah.
is it.
Oh gosh, my
By-
favorite
by,
moment.
By the
My-
way, can we get her card for her, the one that we signed to give to her? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
why-
we gotta-
oh.
yeah.
we got a little
Gotta get a
special something
card.
for you here.
Card.
Yeah, this is sort of
This
me
is
and
the
Ascalia's
final postcard.
yeah, me and Ascalia's brainchild.
I almost cried when I saw the one with the card.
Uh-huh.
That one made me like. I had to stop. I almost cried on Norris's shoulder. That was a thing.
So your favorite moment of LBR that you're never going to get to experience ever again because it's over. Go.
Actually,
All moments. Though?
I'm gonna say doing the Christmas special because it's the one time I got to be in the studio after
Yeah.
we moved away
When
from doing
Juxta
it at
cried?
CMU, and we
Was
did,
it that one?
Yeah, that
Well,
was.
Juxta
Yeah,
cried?
it was.
we're-
It's the only
yeah.
time on the 14 show I've been able to be in studio with
Yeah.
you guys. So I just think that was such a fun show with all the different skits and
That's right.
things
'cause
we were
'cause
doing.
had a,
So
we,
stupid, it was
We had a
great.
Garly. There was a Garlian bit on there.
I like
where you
sang
had
Silent
sang.
Night or something. It's the only time I've ever got to be a
Yup.
Garlian.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a Garlian bit we never actually ended
We
up
did.
doing.
We
Yeah,
were
yeah,
talking
we were
about that
talking about it.
earlier. Yeah.
Still on the outline.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could do it. So
No, we can't.
No, I'd like to see you guys attempt that.
No, we can't.
That would be epic. I would love to see that.
It's just Juxta with like sock puppets.
Oh,
I could
man.
do all the voices.
All right, so let's talk about FanFest. That's why we're here. That's why we're in Vegas. It's why we all came out. I mean, to say goodbye. That's part of it, but also to check out what was going on, what's going to be coming up for Final Fantasy XIV in the next couple of years.
All right. Well, the first thing right out of the way, right when the the keynote started, Square Enix knows how to do a cutscene. Period. They always have.
They
always have.
I'll
Yeah.
never
Agreed.
argue with that. I to be fair, I was not the biggest fan of the Stormblood cutscene.
No.
There's
But
just
it got,
so
but
many.
it got a lot of people interested because we didn't know who the girl in red was and why would we be fighting her. So there was a lot that
Yeah.
there
Regardless
was
of
less,
what you
a lot
thought
of
about it, there
questions.
was still hype and questions.
there was less
Yeah.
speculation or questions about this one, but a lot more hype. I feel
Excuse me. Less questions.
Yeah.
Why is
Oh my
Thancred
God.
wielding a gunblade now?
because he's now a tank who's protecting that little girl.
That's dumb.
no,
Thancred is a thief.
right. But we also
For
were thinking
life.
like gunblade things got to be a tank because like when it showed the trust people up there are no tanks on that list. And so, I mean, not that that's necessarily the official list, but I feel like he's like protecting this girl, and there's no like, and if you're doing a solo duty, one of the NPCs has to be a tank. So, Thancred.
You would think. You would think. So, tons of info dropped today. Let's start off with what led off the day. Of course, obviously the trailer, and so much to talk about in that trailer. I've heard some really, really fascinating speculation about the figure that we're fighting, or that Derplander is fighting, that could possibly be Halone, and that because we're doing Warriors of Darkness,
Oh, like the Karibo person?
no,
Oh.
like one of the 12, that we're going to actually have to fight the 12. And I thought that was like, if that's the way that they're going with it, that could be really interesting.
They said we're going to find out everything behind the start of Hydaelyn and Zodiark, which are literally like the gods.
Yes.
Did anyone find it interesting. The way that it starts, how he's kind of walking. Obviously, he looks grizzly. He looks like he's been through some shit. And the way that they flash back to the last calamity, you know, the opening cutscene with Bahamut and stuff. It's like he's remembering. Right, the way that it's like a flashback.
He was having
like
memories
all these
of like
memories
fighting
are
Xenos
back.
and fighting. They were definitely flashbacks.
One of the cool things that I noticed on one of my repeated viewings of the trailer as it was sort of just playing around the convention was that Derplander starts off in his 1.0 trailer outfit. Like when he's got the bow, that's straight up from 1.0.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that figure appears, you know, hits the first strike, he morphs into warrior version from 2.0. And then even hits the Dragoon version there for a second.
And then it goes to Samurai. Yeah, Monk and then Samurai.
And Samurai. And I thought that was a really, really cool nod.
So flashy. I loved it.
To like all of the different versions of Derplander that we've seen.
Of the Warrior of Light.
And just basically it's a nod to all the different iterations of this game and kind of how it's evolved along the way, which is also really cool to see in like action battle form.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, I think that, you know, brings us to one of the most intriguing parts of the whole trailer. And obviously you guys were talking about Thancred and, you know, leading this cloaked figure. We don't know if it's a girl, but this cloak, it looked like a girl.
Probably a girl.
But there's also this Amano artwork of the warrior. We're going to assume the Warrior of Darkness. It also kind of looks a little like Odin.
It looked a lot like
Odin.
Odin. Yeah, it really did.
I was like, is that me? No, it's not me. It's not me. Horns aren't big enough. But in the saddle, like basically in his lap, there's like a white, looks like a childlike figure.
The cloaked figure from,
Yes.
I noticed that.
And so that's what I'm assuming that those two things are.
Yeah.
Got any theories?
My only like random crack theory I had was that since we're going to be going back to Hydaelyn, Minfilia has to make a reappearance. So what if she becomes not God anymore and is reborn?
Becomes Miniphilia.
Or Hydaelyn is reborn somehow.
Because Thancred, but because we know Thancred really cares about Minfilia, so he would be protecting her if it was some rebirth
that
of
makes
Minfilia.
sense. That actually makes sense.
So I was like, maybe she's shed from her goddess and has been like rebirthed.
Like literally rebirthed.
Literally rebirthed. That was the only like crack theory I came up with today. I have nothing else.
And that's why he has to go from being a thief into being a gunblade tank.
Yeah, he's protecting her.
I feel like there's some of these twists, like the whole Warrior of Darkness thing. Like these are big twists, but this trailer is also a lot shorter than I think what we normally get, and so there's
always an extended version that will come later.
Yeah, because of right now, again, big giant twists have lots of questions, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot there to really extract answers from.
Other than why do we? It said we must become the Warriors of Darkness.
Right? Yeah.
What's necessitating that?
Exactly.
What's driving that? What's
because that twist is probably one of the biggest ones in FF14 history as of right now, right?
So,
but the problem is for me, and I'm gonna have to be the cynic here for most of the night guys. As much as I did love that trailer, is that was a really great showing. But looking at Square Enix track record and how they normally proceed with stuff like this, just because it's a great plot twist in theory, it might end up falling flat.
No, you're right. I do have to wonder though if the Warriors of Darkness that we met in the transition from 3 to 4.0,
which could be another potential callback or link back to where Minfilia went, because she went back to help them in their world.
See, I don't know how they're going to reconcile those two distinct parts of the plot here, because you've got the Garlean Empire and everything that's going on with fighting them and that war, and you've got the whole
I think it has to do with the
existential.
Calamity. I'm thinking it has something to do with the Calamity. Because
have we, as Warriors of Light, tipped the balance too far in the direction of light?
Maybe. And we're also the Source World, which means that our balance is probably different also.
And more important.
And definitely more important. And I feel like because we've got the Garleans who are working with the Ascians and all of that ominous, like, the Calamity is coming out of them. And then we've got from, the God side of it. I feel like, I've complained on the show a couple times recently about how we kind of met all the gods, learned about all the worlds, learned about the calamities, and then forgot about them. And I feel like this is kind of going to maybe bring them back together.
Or because Stormblood's dual storyline worked out so well, they're going to have the Garlean
Stop it.
plot, and then we're going to
Stop speaking.
have
And then
that part,
we'll
and then
succeed in the first patch, and the next patch we'll go somewhere
and then
else.
we're gonna go into the
hope
Warrior of
not.
Darkness's world and help there,
Oh,
and then eventually we're gonna
no.
recruit them to come back and help us fight in Garlemald and then win there.
I hope not. That's the worst possible scenario.
Please, Square Enix, don't do this dual storyline crap. It is the worst.
It worked so well in Stormblood.
No,
It
it
didn't.
didn't. Baku1212 in the chat says open bar is sick. Thanks, LBR. No, thank you, Baku. We
Yes,
appreciate you
thanks
showing
for
up.
showing up.
Can I like see this somewhere else?
I'm sure that we're on some of the monitors out there.
Mhm.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hi.
Let us know if you're out there and you're.
Bring me a
I'm
drink.
curious, actually.
Just
Yeah,
kidding. You can't come back.
No, they can't. No, they can't. Yeah.
I'm
We're
hoping
secret-
I'm
secret
hoping
VIPs
Kooky comes back with some water. I'm parched.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's talk about Blue Mage here for a second.
Ooh, limited job. First of all, when I saw limited pop up, the immediate thing that I immediately thought of was time, limited time, and then it would eventually be a purchase.
No, I thought it.
Oh, there would have been so much. I mean, it would have
no.
sucked, but the vindication would have been great, guys.
Yeah, no, but I mean they've confirmed that there's going to be multiple new jobs coming in with Shadowbringers, and that Blue Mage is actually going to be coming with 4.5. So a bit of a mirror of what we saw when they added Ninja.
Yeah. That's.
I
It's
still.
exciting, but
Is it-
also
I think
the
that's
queues
very
are
surprising.
the queues are going to be, but then again, they only can go to 50. So like,
Right? No.
the leveling queues aren't going to be.
That's
that
right.
then.
When Blue Mage is added in, it's not actually going to shake up anything
gonna be in the
with
meta at
the
all.
other jobs. Essentially, and then this is my biggest concern is I feel like they chopped the legs around from underneath. I mean, we have a theory for it, but I feel like right now the fact that it caps at 50 and the whole idea, obviously, harkening back to FF11, what people loved about Blue Mage, being able to learn the moves, actually after going out and finding them and finding ways to acquire them is cool. But right now, it just seems like it's a side quest or a mini game. Use this character to go learn moves that you can't actually use.
And then
for
there's a special
anything.
blue duty. Like, it does feel like a mini game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, can we talk about what the blue looks like? Like what?
It's okay. It's got this dapper thing going on. It's like a throwback to the old school.
It reminds me of
It's
Tuxedo
like-
Mask.
It does.
Persona.
It's like in Persona. I thought Persona
Boom.
too.
Oh,
but
nice.
it's like Final Fantasy V.
By the way,
So it's
is,
kind of a
is
throwback
that
to
your
that.
is that your character model they use? Because he has like it looks like he had the.
it's got. I don't think so.
No, that's
Is that just
that's
the mask?
That's a
part
mask.
of the mask.
That's just the mask.
that's
Okay,
headpiece,
it looked like it was just the tattoo that goes across the eye.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
No,
get
I think-
really mad when I see people.
I
wear
think
that.
they're definitely saying it's a throwback to the old retro Blue Mages of like FF5. And he even
Yeah.
said that some of the moves would be from 14 and some would be from 5. So that's the style of Blue Mage they're going, which it's okay, but I feel like Red Mage already has that dapperness. Do we need both of them to
yeah,
have that?
I agree.
Yeah.
And I really like the Middle Eastern style of 11's Blue Mages a lot.
Yeah.
And I really wish that ours was kind of based off of that.
I now that you say that, that was one of the coolest parts about Blue Mage was how much they had tied it into Treasures of Ottergon and where that was. And I feel like a lot of jobs in FF14 don't have that same identity. With Dark Knight, it's not like it's a class that yes, it comes from Ishgard, but it's like
Does it really?
yeah, exactly.
See, Dragoon has that, and I feel like Monk has an Alamegan identity. Dragoon has an Ishgardian identity. But like, there's only a
they
few
didn't-
jobs
but
that feel
Square
that way.
Enix didn't take the opportunity to really play into the Monk
agree.
identity.
They didn't
with
capitalize
Alamegan.
on it
Yeah,
at
no, I
all.
agree.
Missed out on it.
Seriously.
Terribly.
Yeah.
Terribly.
The
Yeah.
fact they did such a good job with Dragoon was probably just a fluke.
Actually, I think because of the dragons themselves and the fact that the main character, was Stinian, the way he played.
They couldn't help
know.
but do it.
I was so impressed that they didn't just make it a, get your job to X level and it unlocks Y ability. That you're actually having to learn the spells from the mobs themselves. I didn't see that coming.
Here's-
I didn't either.
Here's
I'm
the
impressed.
thing about that, and I don't want to say it gives me any hope because by the end of the keynote, I was still very just like, all right, yeah, Square Enix, whatever. I guess this is about it. But I think that they looked at the love that people had for Blue Mage, the expectations for it, and somewhere someone on the team was like, we can't just do that. If we're gonna do Blue Mage, we have to do it like they want it.
Yeah.
Like we can't not give that to them.
But then someone else said, but that would disrupt the balance of the game, so let's
Which-
just make it
Well,
Grow 5 levels at a time every
which
patch.
brings
and
us
a mini game.
to,
But this
to
is-
a Nero's theory.
Yeah, so I have a theory that The reason that they decided to cap Blue Mage at 50
and saying that incrementally it would be updated till eventually it catches up
is because this is the first job that Square Enix is adding to FF14 that doesn't strictly fit into the triangle meta that
or just the way that they make jobs.
Exactly, right? So it doesn't quite fit into the tank, DPS, healer kind of triangle that they've built for themselves. Thank you.
Super producer Kugi.
Yeah. And because of that, because you don't know how it's going to fit in with the other jobs, if you made it automatically like, level it to 80 and go, that would disrupt the end game.
They're using live servers as a PTR essentially, because no matter how many people they have on the development team, there are certain things or certain uses of abilities or certain combinations that, having millions of people, not 14 million, but millions of people using it that you can't foresee, right? So by having it at level 50 and then eventually to 60 and 70, you can sort of very slowly and very carefully gauge out those uses and figure out how to deal with it.
I'm not even sure, like, this is the cynic in me. I'm not even sure that Blue Mage will be a job that you can just, like, bring into, like, endgame. Like,
Ever?
I think they may...
Ever?
Even when it hits 80?
Like, I think it might just always be a solo job. A job that you can...
The Beastmaster
The
of
Beastmaster,
14?
but, yeah, like...
But you could take Beastmasters into party.
I mean,
and
you
could. But I'm thinking, like... Because, like, if they really want to make Blue Mage, like, a solo job that you have to do all this stuff to get, like, these these abilities from monsters, I think they're going to make it so Blue Mage can do everything. And if Blue Mage can do everything, then that would disrupt the balance of an endgame raid. So I'm thinking they may never let you guys have it in, like, a real duty or even a real...
I mean, it's called limited for a reason. It's limited in what it can queue up for.
Limited. Like,
solo
job.
Then why make it and add it at that point?
Because people want it. And they're all about the fan service.
But at that point, you're not making an MMO anymore.
I wonder...
You're making a partitioned game that has online elements.
Yeah, you are.
I mean...
You guys hit the nail on the head. It's basically a mini game. It's basically like a Lords of Verminion. It's like a gold saucer thing, but they just giving you job abilities and letting you go do solo duties specifically for that Blue Mage.
So what do you think would be more damaging to their credibility overall? If it ends up panning out that way, or had they taken Blue Mage and made it fit into the rigidity of the Triad?
I think people would not have liked Blue Mage if they had done that.
Yeah.
Because they would be like...
But they would have eventually accepted
They would have accepted it just like Red Mage.
Probably.
Whereas if he's right, and I'm not saying that he is, but if he ends up being right, it'll be like Lords of Verminion, where it is a constant stain and always a reminder.
It's hard to say, because if they had done it the other way, it would have been like you learn one ability every job quest, where in the job quest you go out and fight monsters and learn the ability.
Yep.
But it wouldn't have actually been, like, authentic. So it's hard to say.
I mean, just look at all the new UI graphical updates they had with the new ability learn thing. Like, no other job has that.
True.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't actually watch the keynote, but I think Yoshi said that it was like a solo job, or at least...
Well,
I don't know
it's weird that they felt the need to point out that Blue would have a solo duty, because technically all jobs, as you're leveling them up, you have your
solo.
Yeah,
but
you have your
it's
solo
just
duties
for
and stuff.
Yeah.
But why would you put a single solo at like level cap or whatever? Like what's going to be the reasoning for going and doing it over and over and over again?
I have no idea. I mean, they said they're going to tell us more tomorrow at the live letter.
Yeah.
But I also noted that they said it's the first limited job, as in they plan on possibly adding more limited jobs later.
I don't like that idea.
No.
I mean, I'm already leery about the idea of a limited job for 14.
Unless it obviously just ends up being super awesome and everyone loves the hell out of it. I think that you're just looking into the way that he said it weird.
If it's super awesome and everyone loves it, do they then make it a usable job with endgame in parties and stuff?
They have to take balance into account. Even if people do love playing it, you still have to keep balance in mind. But I mean, the way that they said the first limited job, I don't think they meant it as in the first of many. Just that this is a term that you guys have never heard,
right.
so obviously...
But I think it could also mean if it works well, they will add more in the future.
But what other job
Mime.
that could be blue mage? Shut the fuck. That doesn't even make sense. That has the diversity of blue magic. I mean, the only thing I could think of would be red mage, and red mage is in the game.
I mean, something I would say something like Beastmaster, because Beastmaster cannot work in our game either the way that it is, where you can charm other monsters. That could be another solo type of thing.
And you know what? The way that they did, I think it was Hunter in Octopath Traveler, whereas when you tame a beast, you basically get it as an ability, and then you can call it X amount of times before it goes away. That type of thing, like, again, as like a solo sort of duty, where you go out and you spend time taming, different creatures or different monsters that have a set type of ability, and then depending on what kind of content you're doing or what sort of... Actually, it would be a lot like the way that Hunter operates in World of Warcraft, how each pet kind of fits into a different category.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and then they would basically just choose it from their stable or whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I find it really fascinating that our first... like solo aimed job or is not a pet class.
Yeah,
because that's what I would have thought that they would have put time and development energy into figuring out, is how do we make a pet class that's usable.
But again, blue mage and blue magic has traditionally been just like covering a wide range of spells: utility, damage, healing, even tanking in Final Fantasy XI. Like how could you do justice to that job in the traditional Trinity that 14 has?
I mean, I don't think you can, but I also don't think that you can design your end game content so rigidly that it can't support something like Blue Mage in there as well. You know what I mean? Like I'm hoping, my hope, and again, I don't hold out a lot of it, but my hope is that Square Enix will take the time as it's incrementally increased from 50 to 80 to figure out where it or how it
I hope so
fits in with everything else. If they take the cop out and take it to 80 and they go, yeah, it still does everything.
Well, you realize if they do like 5-level increments, that would take 6 patches for it to get to 80, which goes... Unless they do it on, like, minor patches, it's not even going to get to 80 by the end of Shadowbringers.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, Nika, you're just assuming that we're going to have 5 major patches in Shadowbringers. I mean, what would lead you to think that, Nika?
3 expansions that have that.
Yeah. Dark Flux had actually floated the idea that blue could end up being the first hybrid job, where when you're about to go into a duty, you would, depending on what abilities you put in, you would operate as a tank, as a DPS, or as a healer. It's obviously not something you would change mid-battle, because the idea of hybrids being OP in the game is the idea that you could do any of it anytime you wanted, and then why wouldn't you just take in all blue mages, right?
That means Square Enix would have to design 3 jobs,
3 jobs within one.
Blue Mage.
Especially if they wanted to make it work in the meta that way.
Now, hold on, because they did say that you're going to be going out and learning these abilities, and there are way more abilities than you would actually expect of it. So, maybe.
Could be.
Maybe. Look, they've surprised us before, not often.
When?
It's happened.
They have.
They have.
It was a thing. I mean, the fact that you can learn moves from primals, to me,
that Shiva one was really cool.
Yeah, like, I mean, hell, I kind of wouldn't mind to be able to do that Shiva, arrow blast. Like, that thing is so cool. So
I'm actually really excited for Blue Mage.
Are you?
Yeah.
You think you're going to try it out?
I'm probably definitely going to try it out because it's new.
I mean,
it's exciting. Like, you're actually going to...
It is literally the most different thing, the most unique thing that I think FF14 has had added.
It is actually new content.
Now, temper yourself, because we said very similar things about Eureka.
And again, because Animos was so that's the thing too, is that maybe Blue Mage is promising at first, and then they keep releasing other limited jobs, and they all just...
Well, and I think that there's also, in terms of things other than Dungeons, Raid, and Alliance Raid, I did not hear much of anything that's going to be added with Shadowbringers. That's going to be
that doesn't count.
That does not. That's a race. That's not a thing to do.
Shared world servers.
That's
being able to go to different
before the expansion.
So let's actually take a minute to talk about that, because
I think it's smart.
It's smart
on their part,
maybe
from the server side.
I am frustrated because basically what you're doing is you're able to port into somebody else's overworld.
You just visit a different server. Is what it is.
But there is jack shit to do in the overworld.
But
I think
Come over here and do quests.
you'll
Why?
still be able to obviously
be with your
to
friend.
duty up with them. Yes, to
That's
group
what
up
I'm
and do
saying.
duty.
Like, the
it's
fact that
main
you
thing.
have-
They need more to do in the overworld for this to be successful.
Yes.
I agree. But the thing is that already.
They even when Square Enix talked about it, they were like, "Yeah, come over to somebody else's server and do
quests."
hunts."
Right.
or if a server is congested, the
only
reason
thing there
this
is
isn't
maps, and I will say, like, I've got my static, my endgame raid static is a cross-world static, and so a lot of times you're like, oh, we do Saturday night maps, you want to come,
No,
and like
what-
nobody can come.
what they should have
That's
done-
the only thing you can do.
Look,
right now.
when they announced this, what they should have said was, look, this is something that MMOs come standard with, and it should have been in the game a long time ago. You should have been able to just be with your friends without server transferring. It's here now. Instead of trying to sell it as this big new feature, do maps with people, do MSQs with people. No, here it is. We're
Make
sorry
your
it took
game
so long.
shardless. Is it that difficult? Like, I feel like there have been enough large-scale MMOs that have been able to figure out the shardless thing. The player population is not big enough to be able to justify having separated servers. It's one of those things where I think that this makes Square Enix look more out of touch than it makes them look really good.
I agree. There I go, just mirroring somebody else's opinion again. Damn, failing podcast.
Good job. Actually, we have to look towards what the true end game is. Glamour, and specifically house glamour. So, in being able to go to someone else's world, you can see their glamour,
But speaking of glamour,
their house.
I'm assuming
That's why this is a thing, because
that
it's
when
a
you're
social game.
on a visiting server, you can't trade and sell things on other servers.
Oh, I never
Because
thought
that
about
would
that.
Screw up economy.
Yeah, it would.
So I mean, because
Wait,
you
hold
have a
on.
home
Wait,
world and you have a
FF14
visiting-
What
has
economy?
economies?
Yeah.
Okay, fair, but like they
Is it
kind
going to
of
fuck
do.
up my tombstones?
I just feel like there are some servers where I will look something up and it's like way more expensive on our server than another server. So there is a little bit for the there's an economy for the glamour items. There really is.
Maybe.
Like the ones that are like millions of gil, they're different on each server, and I don't think
what
they
were
would
the
let
other
you just
the other
trade
three.
them.
Trusts, the trust system, ripping that right out of FF11. It's cool though. It's fine.
No, I think
Is it
I think-
fine?
No,
No, I don't.
No, this is
I just-
definitely not fine because Square Enix, with the solo job Blue Mage and now solo
but
trust,
there's so
like they
many
just
people. We need a new data center.
I don't look. I don't think you're going to be able to take trust, at least not right away. I don't think you're going to be able to take trust into dungeons or raids or do duties. I don't think you're going to be able to use them to supplement other players.
That's
Are
what
you
it says. That you can. He says you can use the party. You can party with people if you want, but if you don't want to party with people, you can use the trust. That's basically what he said.
I don't know that you're going to be able to like if you're like I need to
still
do
don't.
I need to do the new extreme primal.
What
I don't think you're going to be able to take a
Here's-
trust into
No,
that.
no.
It's like
No.
if you want to
Get-
do a dungeon by yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know if it's dungeons by yourself.
No, I think dungeon. I think
I mean,
the AI is smart enough to probably
You
be able to do dungeons.
Could probably do some multiplayer raid.
I mean, how
like,
is this any
instances
different
with
from
it, but-
Squadrons?
I don't know
And
yet.
squadrons, they specifically like have they even still at this point caught up? Like you're still just doing
Old-
2.0 content, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're at 60 dungeons.
Okay, regardless, the point is you're still not doing real content. And I use that term real content very lightly. You're still not doing
Current
real content.
current
with them.
content.
Right. So it's literally just
Relevant.
for funsies.
So I've
I'm
got two more things that I want to talk about before we do our first handoff here. Both of them, I think, are intensely stupid. And the first one is New Game Plus.
oh god.
Square Enix, what are you doing?
Who is asking for this?
This is so embarrassing.
Square Enix, I'm talking to you right now, okay? What are you even doing? You give a jump potion, you sell people jump potions so that they don't have to do the story, and then you go, oh, but you could go back and do the story if you want.
Which, by the way, you
we
can
have
already
a little bit of consistency here. Not just that, but is there an incentive for me as someone who has sat through that storyline once to go back and do it again? Can I get tomes instead of XP?
It's not for you.
It's not
Which,
clearly.
by the way, you can experience the story again by either going to your in room or starting a new character.
Now,
Well,
to,
it's
but
for
to be
the solo
fair, that's why
duties.
it's New Game Plus, so you keep your levels. And so I honestly will probably do it.
No, okay.
Because
What?
let me
Why?
explain.
You're fired, Nika.
Because there's so much of the 2.0 story that I don't remember.
Go watch the end cutscene.
Go make an alt.
I did make an alt, but the thing is that I have to walk everywhere.
boo!
And
my
it drives
God.
me nuts. So like I probably, it's not something I'm gonna like log on and be so excited to do, but when I don't have anything else to do, I'll probably do it. But I feel like
No, what you're gonna do when there's nothing for you to do is you're gonna go play a different game.
And AFK in the gold saucer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably.
That sounds
But
like
what I think this system would make the most sense if we also could get the 1.0 content.
See, that would.
I was
actually
expecting
drive- that would-
1.0 classic.
and then
that
you
would
could have
drive
1.0,
value.
2.0, 3.0,
Yes.
and that would make sense.
Because
But
so many players that are active now never got even a feel.
I mean,
of
I did, and I still I feel like I missed so much of it
Yeah.
because I didn't realize it was ending, so I didn't really take it all in. And I feel like people talk about this. I don't even know if I did Hildebrand Quest, and everyone's like, they were the best. I'm like, maybe I did them. Like
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I want to go back and like do all of this.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of work.
And then
I don't even think they have the stuff for it anymore. I think they talked about that.
And then the other intensely dumb thing that I want to talk about
Oh.
is the fact that they're going to be combining TP and MP into one resource management.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Which, as a Dark Knight, makes me friggin' furious.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
Like that.
I don't think it's going to be as hard as you think
No.
it is. It's
Yeah.
all, it's all,
I don't-
they're basically
But
just
Dark
streamlining
Knight is a
it.
TP and MP job.
Okay, now it's
It
just
is.
now it's just an MP job. You just
Yep.
have one less resource to manage.
Does
That's
Dark
it.
Knight ever run out of TP?
Not really.
Okay,
Tanks
so
run out of TP in long fights where there's.
So
not any
is
boss
Goad going to
jumps.
replace MP now?
I mean, it's yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm holding off
it's-
judgment on this till I see it.
I'd like to talk about another immensely stupid thing, which is this idea of crafter and gatherer
Oh God.
end game.
I like it.
Okay,
Why?
no.
Why?
Look, it's fine, right? The whole Doman restoration thing, being able to turn stuff, fine. Yeah, crafters and gatherers like their things, but this whole
Crafter-gatherer.
end game for crafter and gather, it's still just going to be the exact same thing you're already doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The fact that
probably.
it's end game content for you, like, what does that actually mean?
I think it just means content only crafters and gatherers can.
They already have that though, scripts.
Yeah, but the script-
that's
but the
fun,
thing is,
right?
if
The
you
fact
just
that they're
use
trying to
scripts-
pass this off with these
This is
buzzwords
why,
like
though.
high-end endgame
But
content.
this is why I think it's because scripts are literally just to buy gear or buy master books for your character. The reason they're calling this endgame is because you have to come together with other crafters on your server to build it up as a server, I believe.
So how is this
So-
different from Dome and Enclave?
Dome and Enclave is literally just turning in the trash that you get off a mob.
Right, which is exactly what you're going to do after you craft it. So this
The
is Dome and
idea-
Enclave for crafters and gatherers.
But
Yeah.
harder
It's probably high level
because
stuff.
it's gonna
high-level
use
crafting and stuff,
expensive
but it is
It's-
still just literally crafting and turning
Yeah.
stuff in.
I
And
mean-
then maybe at the
Probably.
end it'll open up the Ishgard housing.
I mean, it might like.
I mean,
in the-
he hinted at that.
He did.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
he did.
yay.
It is kind of. I like the concept of crafters and gatherers building together towards rehabbing the city. I think that's cool. You know, it makes the idea of what they did with Mordona a little bit more interactive, and I like that. I for as little as I've done Dome and Enclave, I like the concept of it. So I like the idea of what they're doing here. I don't know what it's going to be like in execution. I just don't. I don't know if they're going to have the crafting and gathering population to, want to be able to fill that up or make it relevant. I just don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It will be. All right. Well, I think that covers most of the big announcements from out at the keynote. And I think that actually is going to wrap up our little limit break radio portion of what we're doing here today, and we're going to do our first tag out. So this is going to be like,
Actually,
oh, what?
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
so what's the plan?
Actually, right now we have a guest,
Oh,
Aaron Edge. Come on.
oh,
over.
Aaron Edge.
Juxta, why don't you leave?
Yeah, bye,
Go
bye,
drink.
Bye,
Juxta.
Juxta.
Hey, he's my favorite one.
Yeah, leave.
Ah,
Go away.
Thank you for a second, I guess. Okay. Hi. I don't know what.
We usually talk into the mic.
Yeah,
I don't know what
into
mic
the mic.
stuff is.
Yeah, just talk into the big foamy part
Okay.
right here.
Cool.
So
That's
Aaron
awesome.
Edge, listeners will know from Final Encounter Cast.
Yeah.
Will recognize that name as someone who I told
You
what
had
did I
hoped
say?
you had hoped his parents would drive off.
They
a
did
cliff.
die.
Oh yeah,
actually.
that they drove
died
they
in
drove
a
off
horrible
a cliff.
crash.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
After contracting Hulk AIDS, was that the?
No, that
No,
wasn't.
that was
I don't
someone
think
else.
so.
That was
okay.
someone
It all
else.
blurs
that was
together.
Dark Star, I'm pretty sure.
It all blurs together.
No, that was
Yeah.
still someone else. I think. Was it?
Someone else.
Yeah.
So what's up?
Hey.
You're on the show now, man.
I showed up with the only intention into showing up on this show this weekend.
Oh really?
It's my birthday this weekend.
Happy
Well, happy
birthday.
birthday.
You?
Hey.
It's also the anniversary of my parents' death. Rest in peace.
I cannot tell if you're serious or joking. This is a problem.
Well,
that's also what Juxta said when I was telling him about the keynote address
you
today.
just kind of have to. I think Blue Mage is silly, actually. I know you said you were kind of into that, but the Blue Mage thing is silly to me. But I wanted to show up because I think it's really important what you guys are doing, actually. I told him earlier I had to eat some crow.
He tooted my horn, guys. It felt nice.
I've never really been a fan of Robbie. He does look like the yellow angry bird, if you look. It's pretty shitty.
Unsee.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You do have shitty bangs underneath that wig, by the way.
I'm growing them out. Actually, they're like this long now.
That's like they're still shitty.
They're
still shitty. I've got a shitty haircut according to Aniro.
No,
sure.
yeah, you do.
Yeah. If it's buzzed on the sides and in the back, I mean.
Well, you're a little too old for fashion stuff.
I get it.
But
I have my dad's haircut.
Tyler was literally
I believe it.
Googling yellow angry bird.
He is. He actually is. That is you.
Yeah.
That looks exactly
that's
fucking like you.
That's fair.
I don't see it.
That's him.
They
for
can't,
sure.
They can't see it.
They
Yeah.
can't see it.
They're twins. It's twins.
He has
It's
a
a
triangle head.
It's a
I
picture
was
of you.
thinking-
If you showed me a picture of yellow angry bird, I'd be like, oh, it's Robbie.
I was thinking about that while I was sitting on the stage talking to Kooky while she was barely crying. And she was crying because you guys did something fucking crazy. Something that you guys will
Was this
do.
their dream thing?
No. You guys have done something that a lot of people that will listen to Limit Break Radio that will never do. You guys followed your dreams. And I know for sure it was specifically a dream of yours. Creating a radio show.
Yeah.
And
Well, nobody would give him a job otherwise.
that may be so, but that mirrors something that I similarly did with my life and my career that I have now, which I had no business doing in the first place, but I have it now.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
And you guys have it now.
Yep.
And this guy right here, I gave this guy a lot of praise earlier, even though I've never really liked Robbie as a person. That's just a thing that happens between people sometimes. But I do like the fact that Robbie decided to give up a lot of stuff to pursue his dream. And there is nothing more in life that you can do than try to pursue your dream. And Robbie did it. And this guy did it. And you did it. And maybe not so Nika or other people, but still.
Hey, I followed my dream. I'm
listen,
doing
though,
exactly what I want to be doing in my life.
You're a teacher, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, everything you guys have done is amazing. And I know that I've been labeled the antagonist of Limit Break Radio before,
But
I've always
the fun,
been
though. That's the fun.
I've always been a fan of you guys, just like Nika's pointed out before.
I mean, if I had actually thought that like there was like any animosity, I would have never appeared on your show.
No, man.
You know,
and you
had a
were
show?
on my shitty
Yeah.
show. You were actually the last episode because I didn't know who else I could go to bigger than you. But I tried it. It's hard work.
It
you
is.
guys do hard actual work every single day for the show. And it is crazy that there are people out there that will actually think less of you for trying to do it. And that's just an insecurity thing.
You know, it's funny. I have not so far gotten any real serious pushback. Like, you guys fucking sold out, man. You know, like
There's a couple people who said that at first.
I was I was kind
Not
of
really.
expecting it. Like at some point, I was expecting someone to be like, "Well, what was all that shit with the Patreon then? Like, what
You owe those
Yeah,
people.
you owe those people."
Yeah, we haven't had any
No,
of that, right?
no.
We-
Let
we
me
didn't.
say something
that's-
from a friend
That's
aspect. real quick.
what I hope that is, honestly, and I mean this genuinely. What I hope that is that people feel like we fulfilled.
That they got their money's worth.
Yeah,
from us.
that we fulfilled what we had set out
Our
to do.
obligations to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys had always given this goal of one day we don't want to have to ask for your
Yes.
support,
Right.
and you guys fulfilled that
Right.
pretty quickly. In terms of Patreons, I mean, you guys could have rode that for a long time, but you guys had a very specific thing. And at first, I had seen it where you guys weren't taking advertisements type of stuff, which was silly to me because I was like, I mean, fucking random people do like Harry's Shave Club type of things. And you guys definitely could have done that with your download numbers.
Right.
For sure. There's no way you guys couldn't have gotten those advertisement money.
But
right?
that's the king of the hill for podcast advertising, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You've got all of these amazing podcasts out there like Mark Maron and Joe Rogan, and they're all fighting for that fucking Gillette sponsorship.
Yes.
Or that fucking stamps.com sponsorship. And like when you really lay that out, because someone had tweeted me, and I wish I could remember. I think his name's Coke Logic.
It was me.
He's an old fan of Opie and Anthony, and he follows like the whole podcast sphere. And he said, "Listen, man, when you realize that the pinnacle of what everyone is fighting for is goddamn Gillette, like that's such a low bar. Like, why can Xerox come in and like sponsor someone? Like why is it that we're like fighting for Bombas sponsorships or like, you know what I mean? Or like Loot Crate.
Gotta get
like,
that green, man.
Loot Crate is somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
But the rest of
But I mean, like they sponsored so many podcasts at one point
that
it's like it became an economic decision. Like even if all of our audience is incredibly generous, and even if we're trying to work the advertising contacts, I don't really see much of a future here, And
because that only goes so far.
It really does, yeah.
All of those people that you've talked about have something supplementing that income other than the advertisements.
Thank you.
Nobody else
100% true.
out there, or nobody that you're talking about is just
a professional podcaster.
Podcasting
Yeah.
thing. Right, exactly. So, I mean, you guys definitely went the right route. You specifically, Nero, wanted a certain thing, and you fought for it, and you brought people like Robbie along, and you brought people like Chris along, and I'm getting a little emotional already because I've watched you guys for the last couple years do this shit,
right?
And it's literally amazing.
I mean,
because you guys took a dream,
right,
that you wanted, and you did it. And there's a lot of people out there that will watch this and say, fuck those guys, because they fucking they sold out. They went to a big company and they sold out and they did this and they did that. What are you doing with your life right now? Are you taking a risk? Because I don't think you are. If you're working at fucking McDonald's or Walmart behind a cashier register and not taking any responsibility to your future behind yourself and trying to go in an artistic direction or even I'm a surveyor now. I never thought in a million fucking years I'd be a surveyor because I went to school to paint cars. That's the fucking polar opposite of what surveying is. And I did it. And I fucking love surveying. And these people love making radio shows.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. What are you going to do with your life if you don't think that you're going to have a career where you love something? I'm sure Nika loves teaching kids.
I do.
And
as
Chris
creepy as that is,
loves pizza.
Chris loves eating pizza, so he
really
fucking
loves
delivers pizza. And you guys
So
make
loves
fucking
I think you have
radio
a long
shows.
lost calling of being a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm a little
For real.
too far into surveying at this point of doing it. But I wanted to catch the last couple shows of you guys, and I wasn't able to.
Well, luckily
You got the last
you
show.
can still
You're
download
here.
them.
You're a part of the
physically
last
here.
one. Yeah.
And
That'll be our history.
I wanted to be here. I paid
Thank
the whatever money. I should have paid more. Chris told me I should have paid more. But I had to be here because
Thank you.
because I was there a part of the very first episode of Final Encountercast.
Yep.
And even though
right.
that is the worst fucking episode or the worst show title ever in history,
It is.
Mark me on that.
It is.
All right, Aaron, all this stuff you're saying is really super awesome, cool stuff. But I think super producer is giving us
sorry.
the giving us the signal. Cookie
Okay.
says you got to go, man.
Okay, I'm
so
sorry.
Fuck off.
Bye.
Thank
Fuck
you.
you,
No,
Robbie.
hey,
you still suck.
We do appreciate you coming out.
Before you go, plug your Twitch channel and stuff.
Oh, I'm Cast Plays on Twitch. I don't really stream a lot, but I probably will since I got a
Well, now you got
here,
now you got
gotta.
the LBR bomb.
You gotta.
I tried to do a show. It's really hard work for those of you fuckwads that don't think it's hard work out there. It is hard work, He knows. I tried to do it with him. It sucked, kind of. He was the best part of the show.
It was interesting.
But yeah, Cast Plays, Twitch. Thanks.
All right.
Bye. Robbie,
See
I
you
still
later.
hate you, but
Yep.
you're fucking respectable.
Yep.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you, Aaron. Aaron Edge, everyone, from Final Encounter Cast fame.
A Final Encounter cast.
That's right. All right, so we are actually going to do our first tag out. Are we doing our first tag out here?
Yes, we are. We have Maelstrom Radio here.
All right. Maelstrom
Come on
Radio.
over.
Yeah, come on over. We'll.
Here, I'll
Yeah,
move
you
in quick.
slide out, Robbie.
Yep. Guys, appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Take a seat.
Hello.
So how's it going, guys?
Try not to kill myself.
Yeah, get real nice and close in on the mics.
All right.
Yeah.
We can
So-
do this.
Love them.
So guys, what did you think about FanFest?
Well, we did our show a while back predicting FanFest, and I remember Sephiroth from the Crucible came up to me after everything and said, "I don't know how you motherfuckers predicted all that shit, but I'm really mad you did."
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we predicted everything.
So what did you get right? I'm curious what you nailed.
At least by the teaser trailer, we predicted Calamity.
Okay.
We predicted Gartr, but that was obvious.
I think we had kind of come to the
conclusion too.
Yeah.
And Garlemald was like teased by Yoshi like at the last FanFest. He's like, maybe in 5.0 we'll go to Garlemald, and we're like,
Yeah. The one thing I think no one's thinking about, and Anonymous kind of backed me up on it, and we all know Anonymous. He's legitimate.
Oh yeah.
Lore
Oh, fun story. I just found out I knew him in FF11. So
Really?
Yeah, he told
Yeah,
me
really?
that today,
Oh,
and it
nice.
just like blew my mind. Anyway, small world.
I said, well, it's funny that Thancred looks younger, doesn't have the long hair.
Cutscene.
He's very
graphics,
very
though,
clean
kinda
cut. Isn't it weird that he looks like a young Thancred? And he's like, well, he is. Zodiac is the master of time and space. He's like, didn't you guys like predict time travel? I was like, isn't that strange?
Huh.
We didn't think of that.
I did not. Oh, he's also
So that could
got
be a young
both of his
Minfilia.
eyes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what is no longer. Has
He's got both of his eyes. You know,
so
and
that
someone
could be Minfilia. I could be right.
someone actually had mentioned that to me, where they were like, "What's that fuckery with his eyes? Like, where did his eye go?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he did have his eye back." And then I just like moved right past it, blew right past. God damn, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we're assholes.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that the shrouded figure is Minfilia then?
Well, remember
I mean,
that
because he was
He's
her
her
protector
protector,
growing up.
Yes, and it would make sense. Also, the key art at the end, that specific like concept drawing.
Yeah,
is that
with the Warrior of Darkness and then the
protecting
smaller child
of
in
light.
Yes.
She was drawn in pure light.
Yeah.
And Minfilia was taken by Hydaelyn.
Right.
Right, and she also had the Echo, and I feel like the Echo was less known when she was a child, and you know she's like this one special child with this gift. You've got to protect her, and
Yep.
you know, so
So it would be interesting if we're going back in time.
I mean,
or at
that's
least an alternate timeline, because Thancred's at least a gunblade because he has a gun strapped to his back with a blade.
Yeah.
I mean, thematically, that also kind of works with what we saw the Derplander kind of go through. Because when we see him, you know, and it took me the second time watching through to go, oh shit, he's in his 1.0 Bard trailer getup. Like, that's amazing. Like that's a great attention to detail. But like, it never really occurred to me that could be some kind of time something happening.
And one of the things I was just thinking of too, like one of the things they announced with this new expansion is that they're doing this whole new game plus where you're going back and revisiting old areas.
Sure.
So
oh, what if they tie that into the lore?
Exactly. They need a way to explain this, and if we're getting this whole time travel piece,
You can now travel back.
exactly, and
and do it
re-experience.
again.
Oh, you guys are
characters.
killing me. I mean, because that is legitimately a good
point.
idea.
That's a
No,
good
that's a very
point.
good idea. I hope Square Enix has the presence of mind to pull that off, because like one of the New Game Plus is one of those things that's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb at this point.
Yeah.
They have a history of doing weird things that other games don't or
But see,
haven't
again,
tried
it's
yet.
something different in 14. I'm all for it at this point. Anything different.
Right, exactly. I agree completely.
Please,
Yeah.
We need something new.
Yeah.
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 It's also interesting that they're doing something that like some old school MMOs have done, and not like Eureka, but at least the end game crafting and like gathering is something that a lot of older MMOs focused on. Was, all right, let's give our crafting and gathering people like legitimacy.
Right.
And even though you are legitimate, the people that main crafting and gathering, like we know you run the guild on all servers.
I'm just
They even though I don't do it, I mean I do it for some money, but not a lot.
Don't.
Yeah, I don't. It is interesting that the Holy See of Ishgard is going to be rebuilt by crafters and gatherers. That also gives individuality back to servers, because if your crafters and gatherers say fuck this, I'm not doing it, then you don't
But you can just server hop and go help another server.
But you can,
That's true.
then your server's never going to get the ability to live in Ishgard.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. And that was something that FF11 did really well that never got ported over to FF14, where you had things like not Besieged. What was the thing? Campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you had
in the past.
Yeah,
It was campaign.
where you had campaign, and it was like you had the entire server working together towards one goal, whether it was unlocking Fey Lux or whether it was,
My favorite was having that stone in El Zabi or whatever it was, and if you didn't have it, you couldn't use the fucking teleporter.
Oh, yeah.
And so everybody was like, "Fuck, we need to go get this stupid stone back." And so you team up with teams to sneak through and the Beastmen, like strongholds were difficult to get through, and I feel like servers really worked together to pull that off too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well, I am tapping out.
Our
then.
lovely producer
I get
here.
to tag out.
Oh, am I staying or am I tagging?
I can
Nope.
You get to hang out.
Oh, I
You were-
can hang
You were
out.
late,
Well,
so you
Okay, I'll stay and hang out.
Yeah,
All right, hi.
perfect.
Unless you guys want to record an episode, then
Yeah, if you do, I'll leave.
you
Just
guys-
tell me to fuck
By
off
all
and I'll
means,
peace
you are
out.
welcome.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
So, yeah, you guys
I
get
could get someone to
to
top
choose.
you up if you want.
I mean, it's okay.
There's someone like what's his name? Brahmet wanted to
Sure,
come in.
Brohamet can come in. We'll do a quick episode
Okay,
of Maelstrom
sure.
Radio.
Yeah, go, go.
All right.
I'll be
All
here
right,
until he
sounds
gets
good.
here.
Perfect.
All right, cool. He'll tap me out.
Like the room with the Overwatch mirror. I'm like, where is that?
I don't know, and I came here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Nika. How are you?
Hi. Hi.
We didn't get to see you at
Thanks
the
for
event.
coming to this sweet party.
Of course.
I'm
Oh,
so
thank you
glad
for
we were
having
able
us.
to pull this off. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is really great. It's awesome. Like
Yes.
we actually.
Way beyond
How
anything I was
professional do you feel
thinking.
right now?
I mean,
You can see like the
you-
videos
yeah,
over
there's
I don't
there.
know if
cameras
you've seen
and
our
everything.
show. This is like the tablet is more professional than our normal show.
I know. Yeah, we are live. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
people are
we're
like,
live.
You
This is the Twitch chat. You can see ourselves over there, and
Hi.
yeah,
How's it going?
it's pretty cool, right?
So yeah, no. Everybody was like, wait a minute. Like you guys are live from the Esports Arena.
Live from the Esports Arena
so-
in Luxor, Las Vegas.
Probably would have been helpful to
gonna be
actually
a
tell
train
people
wreck.
where they were. Like,
Yeah.
you told everyone that we're going live, but you didn't tell them where to actually watch.
Oh, it's
so-
on Checkpoint.
That's at
So-
Checkpoint
But everyone
Radio.
watching here is already knows that
No,
they're
we're
watching.
hosting.
true.
We're currently hosting Checkpoint Radio.
Oh, so that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
It is. I didn't realize because I don't set up our Twitch.
So
Well, good.
I handle all the
forethought.
work. He just shows
It's
up.
true.
Dylan does all the muscle.
Oh.
That's what they tell me. I'm kind of disbelieving.
So you need to really get close to it.
Oh yeah, you need to get
You need
into
to
the
like,
mic.
it's
Into the
it's
mic.
part of your soul.
Yeah. You need to get
My
into.
soul is black.
Like
Just
the
like
mic.
the mic.
Yeah, just like.
Like,
Hi, Twitch chat,
Oh.
by the way. No, so like, while we get Brohamet in here, I mean, I really enjoyed the keynote. The keynote was really done. Out of all the keynotes we've seen in the past, like this was done really well. It was a lot more fun.
Cutscene was so good.
The
Both of
cutscene,
them, like-
yeah,
Ah.
oh yeah. The Blue Mage reveal was fantastic. I love that.
I'm actually impressed that we didn't really talk about this, that the actual CEO of Square Enix came down here.
We were talking
yeah.
about this earlier too.
Yeah.
Like it goes to show like how important 14 is to the
See,
company as
no,
well.
what we were thinking is that actually he's here to see how well 14's doing overseas, to base the budget around, and kind of like get a feel for what 14's actually doing and
Yeah.
get like eyes on. That's kind of what our theory was floating around the audience.
I feel like
but-
we had a pretty good reception to like both the trailer and the Blue Mage reveal.
I
That
agree.
was very, very
I
positive.
I don't know. I guess like I thought the reason he was here is like it was like one of those go big or go home moments.
it was.
They went
They were
big.
like pulling out like so much. Like I mean, they
So
could've
much
just-
cheese, so much cheese. Like, no,
Yeah.
we have to follow an order. Too bad I'm the big boss guy and I've got a
Yeah.
video. You know, it was cheesy, but it was well done. So
It was. I think I was like a lot more skeptical than them. It's like they revealed so much and they put so much in there. It's like you know, we know we're losing people, so let's just try to
are-
plot all the
okay,
stops.
but see, they say that, but then they say we have so many people, we need another data center in both
Right.
NA and EU. And I'm trying to figure, like, I log onto my server. If I'm not on between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern, if I'm on at any other time of the day, there's like 3 people online. So I'm trying to figure out where, like, obviously at the expansion launch and at patch launches, the congestion is there. But on any random essay, like if I go and log in right now, there's not many people online. And so I'm just trying to figure out, they're going to start shuffling worlds around into different data centers and all this, you know, people are going to, like, I'm really worried about my cross-server static being split up and then trying to figure out if we're going to transfer servers because, I mean, I don't know. It's worrisome. And then, but he says, but we need it because the congestion and it's just too populated. I'm just like, really? Actually, when they said server reorg, I thought I was going to be like server merges. That's what I thought.
Right,
I thought
exactly,
server merges,
No.
not server expansion.
See, I kind of thought in the different direction, like, because I play on Balbung. I'm sorry.
Oh, of course.
Sorry.
See, yeah, you have like the one server that has people on it.
Yeah,
The server
no, and
that
like,
should be a data center.
yeah, no, and that's what I was like, you know, I was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna finally build the Balbung quarantine zone.
I mean, you're already being told you're not allowed to do your quests on Balmung anymore, so go to
Yeah.
other servers and do them.
Yeah.
No, and that was actually when they talked about like the world reorganization. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna finally split up Balmung. And I mean, all the people who I was sitting with actually for the keynote, they're all from Balmung. So when he was encouraging us to transfer, like, no.
But, see, but even still, you don't even have to transfer. Just hop to another world and queue up over there,
Yeah.
Right.
just to spread out the congestion a little.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I totally get that, and I think
It's
actually
a
if
smart
it
move
works,
on their end.
it would be great because I mean, I remember playing Stormblood when it released on Balmung, and it was a cluster.
It wasn't good on the other servers either.
No, and I remember like when everything was crashing, it was
Balmung,
like,
I'm assuming
they were
was
like,
worse.
damn it, Balmung.
I can't imagine the line for Rob on Balmung.
We actually tried to
Wait.
form a queue.
Some, a
thinking
lot
it
of
would
servers
work.
tried,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tried, yeah.
By the time
Um,
I got to it, I was just spam clicking and, you know, it took
Yeah.
forever, but...
And then
Nah.
Pippin came along. He was like, haha, round 2.
Oh.
Phase
Little did
2.
you know.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Like
But-
father, like son.
No, I mean, just with all of the reveals, I don't know. It feels like even though that they say that, yeah, we have a lot of players and we're trying to expand, it seems like that they're trying to win back people. There was so many complaints as far as not being more experimental. And so, you know, they're throwing Viera at us, they're throwing Blue Mage at us. And also, like, with the way they're doing the limited job, however that's going to work, that seems interesting. I have to be honest, though, it just didn't seem like it was anything new. It's like, oh, yay, we're going to get 9 dungeons.
You got
It's
New
like
Game
the
Plus.
same thing,
New Game
different
Plus.
place.
New
Game Plus.
It's
Oh,
got
wait,
new in the
wait,
name.
your
It's
new
gotta be
content
new.
is old content. Woo!
But it's got new in the name.
Yeah.
new.
See,
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
really hoping, like, from what I saw in that opening trailer, like, we all know Square Enix is really good at hype in trailers, but, like,
Oh, yeah.
they definitely had that darker feel. And I know that as I feel like FF14's populace is generally an older player base. We like the dark stories. Like, Tamtara Hard Mode is, like, everyone's favorite dungeon story.
Oh, yeah.
And we want more of it. And they, like, started it with, like, all the the Scions dying and, like, Nanamo. But then we saw what happened there, right? We're like, yes, this dark story is amazing.
Yeah.
But on the other side, oh, people are waving. Anyway, but then on the other side of it, they kind of like took all of it back. And so I'm hoping, Square Enix is so good at hype and so not good at follow through. And I'm hoping that they actually follow through with the dark story that I feel like this is going to bring. I'm skeptical.
I agree. We were talking about this earlier. 100%. I really hope that they can pull it off because it would be amazing if they could. But I'm going to wait until I actually see what they deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's encouraging, though, that they're going to give us some of the stuff that they talked about in 4.5.
True,
So it's like, yeah, we know we've strung
the
you
server
along.
hop thing is coming 4.5 to work out Kings. I was actually really surprised. That
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's actually
And
seems
then
like a
Blue
big
Mage.
risk
Blue
on their
Mage,
part.
though, there was that leaker that, everything he leaked about these FanFest announcements was accurate, so it makes me wonder who the hell is leaking
Right
these?
down to the name.
Right down to the name. Anyway, but all right. Bro Hamid is
right.
here. I'm tapping out. I'll be around.
All right.
I'll be back later.
We're gonna record
All
All right,
a.
we're gonna do an episode. Thank you.
We'll
all
do a
for
quick
coming. I'll see
episode
you
of
guys later.
Maelstrom Radio.
Right? Welcome, Bahamut.
I'm going to bring 4 more people to just pack you all out.
Sure.
Sure, sounds
Awesome.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Woohoo.
2030, yeah.
Should be fine.
All right. So I should start this like I normally do. Pay attention to Twitch chat because I'm not gonna do it.
We got Twitch chat
All
covered,
right.
don't worry.
Welcome everybody to Maelstrom Radio. My name is SlyAKAGreyFox. With me as always, this host is from the West Coast now. It's Shin. Of course, we have our lovely producer Dylan with us, and of course, the Rufio of the Crucible, Brohamit.
Hi, I'm Brohamit. And
Welcome
I like to
everybody.
Party.
Maelstrom Radio is live here at the Esports Arena, of course, in lovely Las Vegas. We are here. We just did day 1 of FanFest. We found out all the news. We just talked about a little bit of it. Bahamut, they've heard a little bit from us already, but can we get your, what did you expect? Did you get what you wanted out of the keynote?
Okay, so Square Enix has become very predictable in their announcements. Yoshi teases a shirt. Oh my god, it's a job.
It wasn't a job
what?
this time.
There's a level cap increase?
So did you think Beastmaster was the shirt?
Oh man, I
That would
was
be a good
actually
double.
Yeah, that would be.
I was so surprised that they not only announced Blue Mage, but they're bringing it in for 4.5. And yes, some people safe are
We're looking at
bitching
you.
that it
Yeah,
only
Safe's
goes
right
up
now
to level
watching this on
50
Twitch.
and it's not useful, but you know what? It'll get there in time as long as it's fun and they're building the foundation of something that's new and different. I'm all for a level 50 job. Even if we have to level it from 1 to 50, I will be willing to do that because this is the first time in years that there's something happening where you can break the mold.
How excited are you that the content for Blue Mage is going to be specifically created for it? Like it's not going to be MSQ. It's going to have its own.
I am so intrigued because I am starving for change.
Sorry, Klaus is just in the chat here. I thought Safe would have been more pissed off that that an Estinian cosplay won a prize. I don't know if we've told him about that yet.
See,
We'll
unfortunately,
do it tomorrow.
Safe is feeling sick, so he could not make it here. But if he were, we would all be sure to ask him his thoughts on Ishgard reconstruction because we know that he'd have something productive to contribute to the discussion.
We only
I actually asked him earlier.
Uh-oh.
As
What
far
are
as
his
about
thoughts?
Ishgard, he was like, I'm really glad because in all of the bleep who bother me all day will be there leaving me alone.
the bleep.
I know that we're kind of allowed to curse to a certain amount, but you know there was a you're just gonna leave it there.
Oh, was it a long it was multiple expletives?
It was expressive, we'll put it that way.
I mean, you know Safe.
Yeah.
He can be very creative.
He's a poet.
He was actually very calm though. He's like, yeah, I'm glad all that.
Oh no, you know what? He went to that fever state where he's just like, you know, when you're beyond angry and it's not red anymore, it's just gray. He went past the point of anger. He stopped seeing red. He was just gray, and he was just walking
back to
around.
the
He's
Gray
like
Mage thing.
ascending a new level of nirvana.
Oh yeah, he was just like walking around the whole arena the whole time. He's like,
Yeah.
Estinians here. I'm not even mad anymore. I just
Maybe he just thought Estinian was like a hallucination.
maybe.
The one thing that actually I did really love, and it not only with Blue Mage, but actually speaking to the Ishgard reconstruction, is the fact that it's more than, bam, here it is, congratulations, have fun, move your houses, do the whole run for new housing clusterfuck.
the ultimate PvP.
The ultimate. They need to make that PvP. That would be new content right there. Housing PvP.
That's our new esport.
That's how you
Fuck the
revitalize.
feast.
You revitalize both crafting and PvP by making crafting into PvP.
Yes.
So Fortnite.
I don't know.
You said
we
it,
could
we
put
didn't.
we could put Fortnite into Final Fantasy.
I mean,
That's true.
You can construct in Fortnite.
When are we getting our battle royale mode?
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
need
God.
Everyone else is doing it.
But the thing
Well,
is,
that's Frontline's fucking slaughter.
Not that we don't talk about other MMOs, but Ashes of Creation's releasing a battle royale for their MMO this summer to start working out kinks.
the thing is that with Blue Mage and with also Ishgard housing, if that's exactly what they were talking about, they implied they didn't
there's
state
heavy
it.
implication.
There's heavy implications, just like the whole bunny. But the fact that you're actually working towards it, it's not just being handed to you. And I think that's actually what a lot of players have wanted more than anything else. I think that is kind of the new content. They've been so used to just handing us stuff. It's like, hey, we gave you a thing. Why are you not happy? We didn't earn the thing.
It's super important, and I think a lot of new MMO players may not know this, but it's super, super important to remember that MMOs should be your server, the players you're working with, working towards an end game goal. Rather it be the end raid boss or an old school Warcraft, an old school EQ used to work together to unlock raids and start that sort
You
of
had
stuff.
much smaller communities in those games.
And you
though.
did. But if we're going to start reorganizing our servers and start doing this, being able to hop over, it would be interesting to see that, hey, listen, if we're going to start breaking people apart and managing and balancing these things, maybe it is time to start implementing that stuff, even though it should have been here from the get-go. I know now we're, better later than never.
Well,
but
on the other hand, too, we're talking about these small like tight knit communities and representation on your server and stuff, but with bringing the ability to do like the world transfers,
the visits.
The world visiting. Like we don't have that same sort of community. Like you can hop between to a different server, and no one might know you.
I'm actually intrigued a little bit by the terminology of visit. Like, is there a set amount of time that you can stay on a guest server? Like, are you allowed to stay? Like, are you allowed to go from Gilgamesh to Mateus for up to a week max before you go back home, or are you just permanently there? And also #exile Balmung.
Are we starting that already?
We have someone from Balmung here.
Yeah, me.
Oh right, both of you are. To be fair,
Hi.
Dylan,
Well,
Hi.
How are you?
to be fair, we probably should exile him.
how many people?
Hi,
How many people
Yeah.
just left chat? I'm just, hi, chat. So we got Blue Mage. We're getting in 4.5. It's going to be a new set of skills we're going to learn from each class. We saw Shiva. We're going to get the bow. We see that in 4.5 we're also going to get the cross server, start testing out to work out the kinks.
Right.
Now, can we play a little game of speculation? We know there's going to be multiple job classes, and now we can start. I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt that we'll count Blue Mage as one of those 5.0 jobs, even though it's coming in 4.5. Now,
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they said multiple classes in 5.0.
That means
And
we'll
I
be getting
think-
2.
And Blue Mage was announced for 4.5 explicitly. He said it is not for 5.0.
okay, so we're multiple.
I believe that we're going to get at least 2 for 5.0, and I agree. I think it's probably we're getting 2 classes
Now
in addition to Blue Mage.
Then the question is, are we getting a tank and a healer?
I hope so.
Well,
We have so
something
much
that
time,
I've been hearing about Blue Mage, talking about with other people, is that it might not fit into the Trinity, and that
would be a good
That
concept.
excites me. Like you can pick and choose your monster abilities, and you can spec to be either a tank, a healer, or a DPS.
All right. So with that being said, so you're meaning that the Blue Mage can
Like
pick
a
its,
Blue Mage's abilities, you can pick and choose, put them on your hotbar, and that determines whether or not you're going to be playing as a tank,
so
as a healer, or a
taking
DPS.
it's taking the multi-class system that we have right now, where we swap out the job zones and letting a Blue Mage build its own job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Based on what abilities
Because
you put in
they
your
were
hotbar.
talking about
That's a really
Like, you might have a
so
spec, like, here's your
many
tank spec.
abilities that you could learn as a Blue Mage.
Yeah.
It would not make sense for you to have a list of 21 moves
Right.
and be locked to one role.
And we kind of talked about this before. Like we were talking earlier about like how the Blue Mage might work, and even Yoshida was saying that there might be more abilities than you even expect to have, and we can unlock it from all of these creatures. So what if the Blue Mage actually had hundreds of abilities, or at least dozens of abilities, and they could pick and choose what their current set of abilities is?
I
think that fits in well with what you were saying. Like, hey, these abilities are DPS, these are tank, these are healer. You choose your archetype, and then you can choose what abilities you want from that archetype.
I would honestly absolutely love if there were hidden abilities from something like a hunt.
That would be amazing.
That would be exciting. Yeah.
I would
That would
hate
be
it,
good.
but it would be amazing.
Well, and it kind of goes back to the whole thing. Like previously, again, they just hand stuff to us. If you want to know how to do something, just look in the patch notes.
Chat
So.
thinks he's onto something, Bahamut.
Oh yeah.
Yay! I had a
Alright.
good idea.
Woohoo!
All right. I think or soon. I'm guessing we're gonna be.
Soon they're gonna
getting
call
ta-
time on
tapped
us.
out,
Yeah,
so
we're
we're
slowly
gonna be
getting tapped.
time.
So
Oh, okay.
we got time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
Alright,
Okay. Cool.
Okay, yeah, we just got a
They're
little bit
impressive.
worried because 2 shitheads walked in the room.
one thing actually I also am really interested in is the fact that I think with the expansion, I definitely expected them to either go with Ashians as far as the story or Garleans. But the fact that we're doing both, I found to be really intriguing and actually. Excuse my language.
Are you caught up to 4.4?
Not really. I'm sorry. I've been.
Can
bad.
I spoil 4.4 a little?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we,
So-
you want to ask chat? Chat, can we spoil?
Oh,
who
yeah,
cares?
chat.
I'm just kidding.
But I feel like we just had the 5.0 announcement. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we learned about in 5.0, like especially with Xenos.
I know.
And,
There's so much time travel.
Oh yeah, no,
different.
they didn't say
The
time,
time
travel, but there's
travel
gonna be time
thing
travel.
would be
Time travel.
interesting, but Ethys,
Uh
what he's really hoping for
huh.
is that the monsters that we saw fighting in the trailer, obviously they're very Amdaporian designed. So
Yeah.
the one that Thancred is fighting, that's the second boss of Amdapor Heart Mode.
Yeah.
And the thing that the Warrior of Light's facing, it does look like a Kiribou, but it also very much resembles Halone. And he would very much like if throughout the course of the expansion
We were
that we
talking
fight the 12.
with Moose on this as well, and I think with Ethys as well a little bit. And yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be so
Summon the
interesting
12
because
again.
it's sacrilegious. It's turning what we know, that what we've been told throughout the whole course of the game, on its head. And then also, I would find it the most hilarious thing that we're fighting 12, but we get to a fight where it's Ralgar, and the first phase of the fight is Rema, and then he has a transformation scene like Suzaku, and then we get to see this big buff shirtless wizard.
And then we get to do DDR again.
Sure. Is that what we're doing? With a buff shirtless wizard, DDR?
Suzaku.
I mean, I like the party.
Get in touch with your wizard.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it took us that long to get there, honestly.
I mean, we don't have a soundboard here, so.
No, we can't use our soundboard, sadly.
But sorry, getting back to what you were saying, do you mind if I spoil 4.4
Go for it.
Okay, so the Asians pretty much set up and run Garlemald.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so like they are Garlemald.
Yeah.
Literally, the leader of it is an Asian.
But the fact that I think it seems like that they're planning on resolving both storylines.
Right,
Like I
but,
could
like,
see them
the
like
Asians-
resolving and it's still like Ashen still being part of it, but it's still then bleeding over into the next expansion after 5.0.
True, and we
Whatever
know that
that
Yoshida's
is.
got plans for 6.0 already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
it'll be interesting. As far as like the entire announcement, I don't know. I kind of felt like they shot their wad a little bit.
Kane is typing in chat from just outside and said, or the 12 are Asians.
I would be down for that.
That would honestly be very interesting.
That would be really, really crazy. I don't know how I would react to that.
But I mean that. I really like the angle that more like the 12 are the primals of the spoken races.
Another one person here was saying 12 Asians. The 12 maybe they're Heideland's version of Asians.
That's possible.
It's
Yeah.
an entire
actually a really
possibility.
interesting
I mean, there is the Ishgard, one of the Heavensward dungeons where we fight a statue of Halone. I don't remember the name of the dungeon, but we do. We end up fighting a statue of Halone, and it's the same model of the god.
No, you're thinking of Amdapor hard mode. You're thinking of the Kiribu at the very end.
Is that a Kiribu?
That's not exactly a statue of Halone. That is an Amdapori guardian given life by white magic. It just happens to look like Halone because it's a knightly woman with a sword and a shield. And the thing about Halone is that she's iconic for having either a sword or a lance and a buckler.
Yep. Well, and one of the things that, like, and it's in the lore in the past, like, one of the things that they actually pulled back as far as on white mages is the fact that with Amdapori, white magic got out of control, and there had to be another balance, which is where
we had it with both the the white magic and the black magic.
Yeah, I mean that happened on both sides. So I can definitely see that as far as why the warrior of light would need to become the warrior of darkness, because you can't have one thing get out of control.
And that was kind of hinted in 4.4 too. Like we saw, like maybe we've done too much good up until this point, and we've literally our entire storyline is focusing on us defeating Zodiark, but the goal really isn't for us to defeat Zodiark. It's to make sure that everything stays in that balance. Yeah. So that light and dark are not too powerful.
What do you guys think about the child?
So we were actually talking about this just before you came in.
You want me to go for it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right.
Very good at this.
So, we were talking about a previous episode of Maelstrom Radio. We discussed that this is going to be the time travel expansion.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I know a lot of people, ooh, time travel is scary. No, it's fine. I've seen Back to the Future. It works out okay. So, with that being said, if you pay attention to Thancred's got no beard. He doesn't have the long hair. He's protecting a small child. He did this for Menphilia. It's just, I think it's an alternate timeline. Because if you start thinking back, even to this current patch where we started doing the round table and we were doing the discussion, we started hearing a voice saying, what was it? Complete the bridge to open the gate or something like that. Like, and all of a sudden, like our scions start dropping like flies. All of a sudden,
they're good at that.
Yeah, and listen, if they know how to do one thing, dying is really
coming
back.
It's tradition
so.
at this point.
It would kind of be interesting to see that like we're going to an alternate timeline where shit hit the fan, like too much white light had hit, and that it's kind of like to correct everything we have to kind of do this, but it would explain why people are going missing and dropping into comas, and why they're not like they're living, but wherever they're at, they're there. We have the echo. We know we transcend. We hear a voice. There's a possibility that we can be pulled. Our echo can pull ourselves out of ourselves and put us in other selves.
Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I was looking through on Twitter earlier. and I saw the collector's edition that mono box art.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look closely, you'll see that the Warrior of Darkness, of course, he's basically riding Sleipnir, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also cradling that young girl in his arm.
Right. Yeah, and
so I feel like that's going to be a central part of the story.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and just before you came in as well, like that, thinking of like that's us kind of thing, and we have that Minfilia sort of Child of Light sort of idea.
Mm-hmm.
And also we were talking before with could also be like a Minfilia Hydaelyn hybrid as well.
One thing that sorry to cut you off, but one thing that I've noticed very heavily about Dark Knight stories and lore is that more often than not, the power of a Dark Knight comes from protecting a child.
Yep.
When you think about the origin of Dark Knights, there was an Ishgardian knight who saw a priest diddling a child. So he just like ran his sword through, killed that guy, and that was the first Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you get to Sidurgu and Riel, and it was kind of stupid when you go to the Churning Mist, but his power came from his love and wanting to protect this child.
Yep.
And if this is, in fact, the Dark Knight expansion, it only makes sense with everything that we've been set up that this power of darkness, this strong emotion, this vitriol used for the greater good is going to be focused on this one central child that will be the key to unlocking everything.
Exactly.
And usually when we think darkness, we usually associate it with evil or something like that. Like there's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be evil in that sense. We could have darkness without the evil, right? Like as we see
darkness
with the
can
Dark
just
Knight.
be like, anger, angst, just this pent up frustration.
Right.
It's about how you use it. You can still have a Dark Knight for justice. That's what they are.
Right.
They are using the look down, discarded emotions upon society to correct what they feel is wrong. And
you might be onto something with how well the Dark Knight storyline was written in Stormblood. It would almost go down that path of protecting a child and finding souls and protecting the like taking from the loved ones that passed on in the Abyss. It would be a great start point for the new expansion, especially for the storyline.
It's not even like really protecting the light. It's just more protecting innocence, really.
Yep.
Right. Shay, there's one question in chat here asking, is our podcast weekly? We do actually record weekly. We're currently on a hiatus for another 2 weeks, I believe, as we do some preparation. But we do normally record weekly.
And we're about to swap out, so you can check us at twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. Of course, I want to thank Bro Hamid from the Crucible at www.thecrucible.ffxiv.com, right? Correct?
TheCrucibleFFXIV.com.
All right.
We are at the Crucible FFXIV on Tumblr. Just plain old at Crucible FFXIV on Twitter. I've been very active today with my selfies and shit posting and everything. And then we're also at twitch.tv/TheCrucibleFFXIV.
There you go. I want to thank, of course, our producer Dylan for being on the show.
Hey, thank you.
And, of course, my co-host Shin. And, of course, thank you. I'm Flatus, and we're live from Vegas. We're about to get out of here, but I want you to make sure that you follow us at twitch.tv/Maelstrom Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Maelstrom_radio, and follow us on Facebook at Maelstrom Radio. And, of course, our website, maelstromradio.com, for all your fantastic Final Fantasy and gaming news. Thank you all, and we're going to get out of here to enjoy some more fun in Vegas. See you all tomorrow live from further.
Bye.
Hashtag Exabamung.
Thank you, guys. We'll definitely send you the audio. All right, guys. So who we have next is Aetherite Radio. Come on over. Aetherite Radio. Yeah. So just set it over there. Water is good. Okay. Wherever you want to position yourself.
Come on over, buddy.
So you have the Twitch chat right here. If you want to check it out.
Beautiful. Is it like the perfect angle for me to not be able to see it?
Yeah.
Hi, what's going on?
Chairs.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Awesome. Cool.
This is an awkwardly.
Are you gonna like come and give us like a 5 minute or something like a?
Yeah, I think it's left.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
I know.
Sounds like you broke it. Oh my gosh, we don't know how to.
I'm literally trying to get close to the mic.
We don't know how chairs work here over at Gamer Escape.
That makes sense.
Fine.
I
Okay.
don't even know how to do that.
I'm gonna have to just get down. I can't do anything.
What's up, Bash Saber? How you guys doing? I see a Klaus in the chat. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Hey, there we go. I figured out how to unlock a chair tonight, everybody.
Nice.
I did it the cheater way and just got up and moved the chair.
Welcome to our super I don't know what.
There we go.
Fine.
We're good. Hi, everybody.
Ryan's breaking everything right now. Welcome to a super weird episode of Ethys Radio. I'm FusionX, and we got Bryn, Charles. I'm sorry, I can't always do this. I always mix up the. You're like here in person, too.
I know,
which
it's
makes it
weird, right?
We have Bryn, we have Aldino, we have Zanidra. So we got some like super hot scoops. Do you have the list?
I do have the list.
So about 45 minutes ago, there was a press conference that wrapped up after day one of FanFest here. And so we have all of the amazing questions.
They're great.
Look at his very like.
These are so bad. So the write-up is on Gamerscape. This is like super breaking news. So I thought it'd be fun to go through and just. I'm glad that we didn't list the outlets that asked this because some of these are so bad.
Well, he's like, who asked the question? I go, you don't want to know.
No.
Stop being mean to the
Yeah.
other
Let me go through. I'm gonna pick a few.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where was the one? Players are running cybersex brothels in 14. Does Square Enix have a position on this? Yoshida says that his general response is that there is a user agreement that everybody agrees to before playing. Users that break that will be dealt with, including account bans and other issues like that should be reported to the GMs so they can be investigated. I love that, like, just now, like, somebody's asking this.
Oh, my God.
It's just like...
Is it a problem?
It's a thing.
I get that it's a thing.
It's a thing.
But a thing and a problem are two different things.
Yeah,
Completely.
I don't know. Just don't go there.
People in the chat saying I'm super salty. I'm like, look, I'm not salty. I know how to ask good questions.
That's fine.
We can pass it around a little bit if you want. That's fine.
Puff pass.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You have a press conference like this, and especially I was surprised they did it. They did one in Frankfurt last FanFest circuit, and it made sense because that was the last FanFest. But at the end of the first FanFest, it's like, okay, we announced all this cool stuff. We can't talk about anything else until Paris and Tokyo. And so you're going to have all these people come in like, so tell us more about these other jobs. And it's like, no.
Not at all. I've honestly kind of regulated, it's like, let's stop calling them Q&As and let's just think of them as pitch meetings, people. Like as a community.
It's your pet project.
As a community, ask a question in the form of an idea that you're pitching, and as a community we can decide if we reject it or not, but that's literally all I want.
I would love it if we could just get if there's like a fish in the game with like fossilized bone armor that eats Lalafell kings, like that would be,
and we should call it,
that would be great. The vegetarian.
Honestly, that was the best.
That was so good.
That was
so good. If
Do
you
we
guys
have peaches yet? Do we have peaches?
Oh,
that was a question at some point.
Oh yeah,
it was.
They're coming at some point.
I don't know if we do.
Yeah, peach confetti.
So the story behind all of this stuff that we are not really explaining very well is
we're all over the place. Yeah.
During the lore panel, Koji decided or let us know that there was going to be a new type of fish based off an old type of fish, and he was gonna use our opinions to make the description for this fish.
They basically handed a mic around, and it was like, okay, we need to come up with the descriptors for this fish. We need to come up with what this fish has done to be like the king, King Leopleurodon.
Because the Leopleurodon was already the king.
With the name of it, which is great. Like I love the vegetarian name because it's like people started talking about how it like ate Lalafells, and then they played further on it. Like, we'll call it the vegetarian because potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah.
Ah, okay.
That's what it was. Yeah, I don't know if you got.
Yeah, I did not go. So I was not there.
So great.
We're all caught up
if you guys,
I meant to pitch it to Koji. So the Lalafell that he's eaten, he didn't eat the bones. He saved the bones, and that's how he forged his armor.
Oh.
They're fossilized bones, though.
Yeah,
for
but
the
you
armor.
could.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, you could forge the armor out of the bones, and the armor itself would fossilize.
Became fossilized. Sure.
So we can sit here and we can kind of, I guess, be salty about some of the questions that were asked. And I guess the question that I would, round table if you guys have one, and if you don't, or the chat does, like, what would be a question that you would have asked if you were there or could? It's like, and so think about that. We can go over some more of the questions that were asked, but it's like there's a lot of things that it's like, gosh, like, where's my party level sync? Yoshi said it. I asked him it 2 years ago.
I don't know if I'm more surprised that that's the one, or that you didn't ask about Xbox again.
No, well, that's dumb. Asking about Xbox is a dumb question because they're going to tell us if it's ever coming to the system.
Yeah.
Let's not burn a question on it because the answer is going to be, we want to be on as many platforms
Please
as
look
possible.
forward to it.
And then we're working constantly with Nintendo, Sony, blah blah blah. Yeah. You want it on Xbox? Like, hi. I'm Brian. Like, I like all
I ask this every
consoles.
time. Yeah.
I think, Zen, you need to eat your mic a little bit.
Hello, can you hear me?
It's delicious. Just nice. Yeah, like what was the other question? When did you decide to create the FanFest and announce Shadowbringers?
I wish they said get out.
Probably like 2 years ago, and then another 2 years ago after that, because it's been like the same exact schedule, like all the stuff in the game.
You know what's really good about like these list of questions though? And again, check it out on gamerscape.com. Plug. But is that we've finally moved beyond the 1.0 to 2.0, like the failure to the rebirth. Like it's literally like that's not the story, that's not the messaging that's ever being.
No, but at the same time, one of my favorite parts about that Shadowbringers trailer is it starts off and you have the Warrior of Light. And he's wearing that 1.0 intro video armor.
He's an archer. He's an archer, yeah.
And it might have been me. We were like this.
Yeah, and it had me going too, because then they talked about New Game Plus.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's weird. And then they keep talking about like, like you could start back like from the beginning. Yeah. They're like, oh, the beginning, like.
So you can make music
videos. He kept pushing like the beginning. I'm like, you are not going where I think, and they didn't.
Yeah.
But like, man, like for a second, they almost had me.
When we celebrate your 8th year anniversary with your 5 year.
Like there's no Warren Bossing say. There's no 1.0. What are you talking about?
Right.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't watched the lore panel, definitely make sure to check it out. There's some really cool stuff in there.
Highlight. It's so funny.
We'll be bringing on some lore people here shortly, but I want to take a second here and just give a giant shout out to Anonymous.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen the lore panel, if you haven't seen the tweets, if you haven't heard about it yet, he was actually brought on by Koji to work on like fact checking and error checking this lore book, Encyclopedia 2. So he was up on the stage for a brief second, and that's freaking awesome. Like seriously, so proud of you, man.
Congrats.
So he'll be on with Ethys and the ladies from MuseCast here after us. But yeah, I just want to. That's so cool.
It's awesome.
So cool.
It was such a moment because you've been sitting on that news and he has not shared
I've
it
known
with us.
I've known
and I was
about
sitting
it.
here just like, wait, something's happening.
I'm like,
Anonymous is great.
I'm like, everybody should look forward to the lore panel. It should be really fun.
I'm not gonna tell you.
We'll also have a interview with Koji that we'll be posting too in the next few days. So keep an eye out. Gamerscape.com.
They're rabid about tackling him.
Yes.
I'm very sorry, Koji.
I felt really bad for Moose. Like he pulled him on stage. He's like, yeah, and we got all the bugs, and they're like, no, we found a bug, and then he like pushes him off the stage. It's great.
Get out of here.
I have a nice like in motion picture of like him like looking like he's getting pushed off.
Oh man,
it's good. It's good stuff.
Okay, so what's the hot takes? We saw. I mean, probably in my opinion, the coolest cinematic that we've seen to date.
I mean, look, like I still get a little aroused when I watch the Heavensward one.
Heavensward's great, but Heavensward's
Mr.
also
Dragoon.
a part of this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
but
why.
it's also a
When
part
that
of this.
freaking trailer
Like
came
it's not.
up.
We don't. It's none of that. Like all of that is brought into this, and just
It's
like,
true. There are. If you I didn't notice it during the first play because the sound was just blaring, but at the back of the hall you could hear snippets of all the other trailer music that they were playing Heavensward music, and it's it's awesome, and I love. It's a weird trailer altogether because you have. It looks like basically just all the freaking bosses from Amdapor are like, we're back because
we're here,
light and stuff. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But still, a Warrior of Light as a caster, when is that going to happen? Couldn't he have been a black mage?
That
for
was
Shadowbringers?
that was my biggest question, right? Because we've had this pattern with these opening trailers, and it's like, so what job is the Warrior Light going to be in 5.0? Everything, and he's going to break the mechanics, and he's going to job change mid fight.
That was super cool though. Like it's very cool to see
cool.
it.
But like
in the
video,
back
of my head, my first thought was like, you can't do that during combat.
You're not gonna lose. Well,
that's not how that works.
We don't know.
he could once upon a time.
Yeah.
And then you have Thancred in the trailer, who I will admit, first glance I thought he was a machinist. Because they do have that one gun that's got that kind of like blade on it. Yeah, but no,
I may or may not.
He's got a gunblade. That is the new job, whatever it ends up being. And then we got Blue Mage. Blue Mage is not unexpected, right? But they're handling
Straight up, here's what it is.
Blue
Mother
Effing Mage, baby.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they're gonna have you're gonna learn stuff. You got to go out and fight mobs, and it's we've always had this idea of like yes, obviously Blue Mage is coming.
Yeah.
But it's going to be you learn abilities through your job quests. Like you have to go and
be
way,
and then
you learn Bad Breath. That's not the case at all They're capped at 50. It's coming in patch 4.5, and there's an instance for only blue mages. It's really weird. This is going to be they call it a limited job, and it means it doesn't rely on a subclass. There's no subclasses for blue mage, which
doesn't mean it's for a limited time. It doesn't mean it's going to be limited.
No, yeah,
in comparison
for a limited
later
time.
on.
If you buy a box of whatever,
I think of it as like a public test realm for a job.
But
like, hey, go ahead, Charles.
Oh no. The thing that they said was it's not based on any class, and it was the first of its kind that wasn't based on any class, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is, did they mean that it doesn't have a role?
And that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, it doesn't have a role, and it can switch.
Blue Mage, it's such a weird thing, and it's another one of those things where everybody's like, Square needs to break the mold.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so like,
maybe they just did.
They try to do that, but then we get like Diadem and Eureka, and people are like, I don't know. And then now we have Blue Mage, which is the whole job is like a weird niche thing.
It's also the first degree of horizontal progression that we've had introduced to the system.
Yeah.
Because you have the vertical level and gear, but then the fact is that you're going to go hunt for, and the quote was that more skills than we can really are thinking about.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like 100 skills. It's like, is it 200? Is it 150?
How many?
And it's like, that in and of itself
No, just
is
add
like,
up 3 bars, however many that is. It's like
right. And
12,
so
36.
immediately I go, man, this is going to be the most. It could be like the worst case scenario, like this sucks. But at the core of it, like there is such an interesting thing because like people want. I say sub jobs. Sub jobs is a skill tree.
Yeah.
I think skill tree is like, we want some choice, player agency, right?
Yeah.
Well, this in and of itself is it literally could be that because no matter what, like unless who knows what they're changing with 5.0. Like you're not going to put 100 skills on any hotbar or controller by any stretch of the imagination.
But at the same time, like it's Blue Mage, right? Like, and that's always been the thing that we've gone back to when we've discussed it. It's if you want traditional Blue Mage, there's a certain way you have to do it, and but there's always been that other thing of there's that adaptation you need to do to make it meld with how 14 works.
Because we have the Holy Trinity. We have tank, healer, DPS, and Blue Mage is technically kind of in between of all of them.
Yes.
And if they're going to pull an 11 where you have points to slot things.
It's a weird thing, and it's also not. I don't think it's going to be something that people are going to be bringing into raids. I think it's going to be a weird, like, I'm going to solo Heaven on High. I'm going to jump on Blue Mage because, I mean, you look at it like it's coming for 4.5, which is awesome.
Yes.
As well as the world visit thing, which we haven't talked about yet, but we'll mention it if you haven't seen it yet. I don't know if we'll get to it or not. But it's the level cap for Blue Mage is 50.
Yep.
And they'll raise it like throughout 5.0, which means 5.0 hits. It might be like 55 or 60, but you're not going to be running content with it. And that's weird to me.
Yeah, it's
and
really
strange. I don't know what to make of it.
Do you think they're going to start it at 30 or 1?
I hope 1.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
The way he talked about it was like, if you're level 1 and you're starting off, you don't have any spells.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe they do start it off 1, and you just have to beat squirrels with a cane in the shroud for a couple hours.
Yeah,
and I don't.
With a cane.
I'm not sure if they didn't want to destabilize the
current meta.
The current meta, or if it was that they need more time to make the abilities that you will get through Stormblood.
It could be a mix of that, but also I think the other really important thing right now is. Seeing how drastic the combat changes were between 3.0 and 4.0, they don't want to introduce a job in 4.5 and then have to rework it in 5.0. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
that's true.
So
we're talking about
being
at
at 50, they don't have to worry about the 50 plus skills right now.
Plus, the new jobs when they come out with Shadowbringers will probably be 50. Just flat.
They might be.
It is.
Probably, yeah.
And they'll
At the
all be
least
same.
50, yeah.
50 is really where the game gets good.
Yeah.
Anybody watching this for some reason and thinking about getting in, 50 is like get to 50.
Takes a bit, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So what?
Depends on where you go. Those XP buffs they give you for going to
That's
the
true.
empty servers are really good.
True.
Yeah.
So lots of really cool stuff overall. And we could talk, and I want to get everybody's thought real quick.
Yeah.
Something you wish they would have announced that they didn't. What did you want to see this morning at the keynote?
Don't look at me first.
I know 'em right now.
Go.
Split Summoner and Scholar, please. One day. Could you just tell me that you're doing that? We need it to happen. Please. That's the thing that I've been waiting for this whole time.
Delete class. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
just split them.
No.
Yeah, just split them. Just split them, please.
Just the one job.
Have some surgery.
Yeah, just come on, please.
Sure,
That's it.
Virgin.
That's really it.
For lack of a better, I guess, turn or phrase, is that I'd like to see it'd be either considered the Mythic Plus or the Torment system brought into dungeons. Oh, we're getting 9 new dungeons, 6 of which we're gonna run through, and then 2 or 3 we're gonna do on repeat until we're burned out on it. Like no, like we got to look at like what is this gonna put us into 80 or 90 dungeons overall in this game?
Something like that.
You know, and it's that we got to get to a system that basically says it doesn't have to be all of them at the same time, but like just take any of the stuff. Make it relevant, make it challenging. Let the dungeon, when we beat it, let it level up, like Torment. Like, just let the content continue to level up. And you're like, all this technologically exists because you have the Heaven on High modifiers. Like, all it is that they need to create content that scales and it's dynamic so that they don't have to, because they can never keep up with the demand that we, the community, have. They can never make content fast enough. And good enough that we won't consume, and then we were like, "Where's the next thing?" So you let the we need some dynamic difficulty. Content needs.
I'm in that. That's my thing too. It's like there are so many dungeons in this game, and zero reason to go back to like 98% of them.
Right.
Like, why can't I run Sistasha on
level 70, level 80 now?
Like just scale up the HP. Like keep like everything else can be fine. Just scale the HP up higher, and that's you have like a whole new thing. Like.
It's diversity in the fact that our roulettes are 2 dungeons, like the expert roulette, which like you only need to do that at a minimum to get cap. It's like it doesn't care who you are. It just gets frustrating.
5 times, I think is right. Yeah.
All right, Zanidra.
Okay.
You're up.
Obviously, I want a dancer. So why didn't they tell me about dancer? No.
They might have.
Yeah, they could have.
It's true.
Somewhere.
It's true. What they said was all of them were, well, at least one of them was in the teaser trailer. I think we all know which one it was, though.
Yeah.
Gunblader. We don't know what to call it, though.
Gunblader. Gunblader.
I
don't know.
Gunblader 2099.
Seed. I go with Seed.
Soldier 76. Seed.
Okay.
Ooh.
I had a real thing. It's quickly escaping my brain. Oh, and this is, you know what, this is kind of a piddly thing too, but when he did come out with the bow and everything at the beginning of the trailer, I was like, is it Bard's time? No.
No. No.
No. Yeah.
Nope.
Nope. That's I mean, it's not even over yet. I'm still just kind of like, tell me things.
I'm just excited.
I will say, you know, having
you know what?
Okay.
This is this is my 3rd year coming here.
Yeah.
This is the first year I've made it to the keynote.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
You literally got here. Yeah.
I sleep till noon, and last time, we will not speak of last time.
No.
But
it's fine.
What they say is true. 3rd time's the charm.
Wow. I will say, I am so surprised and appreciative. After, you know, this is my 3rd as well. I've made all the keynotes.
Yeah.
We finally got a damn job reveal in NA,
and it was
that wasn't a T-shirt.
It was so good.
And the night
we still had a super
like,
T-shirt thing, but it wasn't a job.
The T-shirt
but it
wasn't
the job.
It was really cute. Somebody pointed out to me, it's a racing shirt. It's a race shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a race.
It's a race, and it's a race.
Koji's like grinning somewhere.
Oh, you know it.
For
you
having
know
like
it.
thought of that.
So good. Well, so we were sitting there, we're all like in our little area, and it's like, oh, he's got a Bugs Bunny. I go, oh, VR confirmed.
Yeah.
We're freaking sure.
Yeah,
and he's
exactly.
like, you won't turn around. I'm like, oh my gosh, people can't see the freaking Bugs Bunny on his
on his chest. Yeah.
You know, I had noticed it. I really hadn't. It hadn't occurred to me only because they Square sticks to their patterns so much and so hard, and I'm like, it's got to be a job. I don't know what the hell job would use a bunny, but I'm sure they'll get to it, right?
That was the biggest concern that I was actually when I was sitting here watching the opening keynote. So trailer check. Well, the trailer's great, but then it was just they were literally checking boxes.
Yeah,
and that's been the kind of some of the complaint in the community. It's like literally like we're gonna get some zones. So we got dungeons. We got Beastmen and Trials, and people are cheering them like. Yeah,
they're like, we heard you want some more Evilise. Here's a Beastman race from Evilise.
Yes,
I mean,
that's
okay with me.
They've teased that so much. They teased it with like the trial. They've teased it in the story. They've and they've it's like that.
They teased it in the lore.
One of my favorite comments that I've seen today is, why aren't Viera in the lore book too? Because they're not out yet.
Well, they're in there.
Are they?
There's some. Yeah, there's some like breakdown of the races in some zone. It says 5% Vieira.
Okay,
and it's just funny.
That's my bad. I only got my hands on it yesterday. I haven't read the whole thing yet.
No, it's tiny. I just saw it on Twitter like not too long ago. But
yeah,
it's
I
like
saw
that's probably the only
like,
one.
Reading through, like he was trying to like study up for their little bit after this. It was funny.
He's got a well-worn and earmarked copy already.
Right. Yeah, he's got pen marks in it.
24 hours.
Like, highlighting things. And, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that I've flipped through.
Man.
So having done 1.0, they talk about all of the saints for the guild leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we won't go into it. We'll save some stuff.
That's
for
actually one of the things that
lore
was like
guys
really
here.
like despite all 1.0's problems, like that was such an interesting idea driving into these saints and the stories and like it was like
and there were so many of them written.
Yeah.
And now we know what they are.
What they are anymore.
I mean, I have a business card holder. That's the consistency leave from 1.0.
That was my phone background.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For a billion years.
Yeah.
So my phone would look like a leaf.
Yeah.
Favorite part of the keynote. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things that we've liked, but what was your one thing?
I loved that the CEO comes out in the blue mage and it's all like they're such a good showman, but that was because I'm completely with you, Fusion. At the core of it, like we never have gotten a job reveal.
Nope. Yeah.
Never. Oh, we got a shirt. Okay, no. Like right.
I actually went back and I bought that Scarlet Witch shirt.
Oh yeah.
I actually have it. Yeah.
But it's like we've really sitting here and they're like always say like, well, you guys are first, and the thing you get is the first taste of the trailer.
And
literally everybody
like,
gets.
Yes.
Just the fact.
But
that
at the same time,
here.
I'm like, it's cool if like NA goes second and we get a job. Like, I'm
whatever,
fine with
we'll
that.
take second.
I would really like that, and so we got it. We got details. We're getting more details tomorrow.
Yeah.
I really.
They need to gamble and make the money to fund the rest of the expansion.
It's not the feature that I'm most excited about, but it's literally like I think the moment in the keynote where I was like, I felt heard as a part of the community.
Sure.
Trust.
Yeah.
Trust is my favorite feature.
Full disclosure, Klaus in the chat saying that he got the shirt too. I saw him get it, and then like he posted a link or said where he got it from, and then that's how I got it. So, thanks, Klaus. I think my favorite thing. Everything looked really cool. But I think the thing that I like the most, and I'm most appreciative of, because I know this must have taken the server team forever, is the idea of the world visits.
Oh,
yes,
it's amazing.
And to like this feels like a start, because imagine if it was just a matter of just me inviting you and your world visiting.
Yeah.
Like step A, let's get this.
This is one of those things where I mean they've slowly been doing more and more with world and connectivity. I mean we're still waiting for the big data center moving thing. I don't know if that'll happen anytime soon, but and we're getting new data centers. So I feel bad because I feel like maybe Balmung and Gilgamesh won't be on the same data center after they restructure that.
There's no way possible. I don't think so.
Yeah, which is weird because it's like I know people on Aether,
exactly.
but they're either on Balmung or on Aether. So it's like even after this, like damn.
Yeah, I took a look at the like unofficial, of course, super unofficial census, and it's like Aether has like 5 with like 10,000 or more from that census, of course, which is high, very high, and it's got 5 of them.
Yeah,
it's like it's going to be split up. I don't know how, but yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
I did a little bit of white knighting today and then felt guilty. So we're like, I don't know how I feel about this world transfer stuff. What if they transfer away my friends? And I'm like, they told you exactly what they're going to do.
That's not how that works. No, that's not how that works.
No,
well, they're like, oh, I have friends on this other server that's in our.
Oh well, then that might be happening.
No, it actually might happen, but they're also going to give you a
free world transfer
if you want.
The real
it's more complicated, but
the real
logistics.
Yeah, the real kick in the pants is when they do any of this is housing. That's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be housing, and if you're like a super role player, like retain your names, like you know.
It's not going to make you lose your house.
If you
want to move,
if you actually transfer, because they were split apart and you want to transfer,
I mean, and that's always been my thing. It's like I have people on other servers, but like I like my house. I have a medium house, right? And the Goblet is the one with like the pool in front. I love that house.
I will fight everyone for the Ishgard housing when it happens.
And look, like yes, I'd also like to play with friends, but it's a sweet house.
Yeah.
So Charles, you bring up a really key point talking about Ishgard housing.
Yeah.
That it's tied.
It was kind of subtly hinted at. Yeah.
Tied into endgame crafting and gathering.
Yeah. Which
was cool. We had gotten there was an interview, and I can't remember where it came from, but there was talk about something was coming for Ishgard, and the way it was asked or whatever. A lot of people were thinking, oh, we're gonna go back and we're gonna rebuild it, which is awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, like I'd love to have a reason to go back to the older towns.
Yeah.
I hope that in doing this, maybe they do something where all the towns can be a central hub, because that's one of the things I've loved the Doman reconstruction. A lot of people think it's silly. I love it. Like, I think it's fascinating that like
cool, yeah.
you finish the first quest and it's like, well, check out these NPCs. They're making paper, and like it sounds so stupid, and a lot of people think it's stupid, but I think it's like that's like so cool. It's so cool.
The city just kind of grows on its own.
Yeah.
And I really hope Ishgard is like server focused, so it's like the crafters and gatherers of this server are at this point, so everyone's phased to this point.
Yes, but also no, because I mean you have that thing where, it changes, and then it changes for everybody, and no one, if I come into the game late, I'm never going to see that progression.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, maybe it might be part of New Game Plus, like you could go see that first story of it. I don't know that they would ever be able to reset it for a whole server or anything, but maybe you can see it as it was. I don't know.
What do you guys think about New Game Plus?
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
They announced it. I'm like, this is still an MMO.
Yeah,
right?
I guess it's cool.
That having been said, I think one of the core reasons they did it a while ago.
Yeah.
What's that?
Blue Mage is
maybe
you can go back through and get your stuff.
You can meet up with
yeah,
old monster.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point.
Get your butt kicked.
I remember years ago, probably now, people were asking about being able to replay the phased fights, the phased instances fights, and this would probably be the way to do that. Because I mean, there was so many of them that it was hard for them to basically find all the flags and make a list to
There's going to
do
be
those.
a music video contest in the next 2 years. I guarantee.
Oh, well, yeah, now that you can get back and get every single, like, micro cutscene that you want,
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Somebody's going to be recording all of it, I hope. We need it chronicled. There's some stuff in 1.0 that you can never find again. We got to chronicle this if we have New Game Plus.
For sure. So, I think, are we done here? We'll give a couple. Yeah, we'll do an outro here. Cool.
Sure.
So if we'll just walk off.
Goodbye.
We're done. We're out of here.
I'm not going to drop this mic.
No.
So if you guys don't know who we are Ethys Radio. We are Gamer Escape's Final Fantasy XIV podcast. If you don't know Gamer Escape, maybe move out of your parents' basement or that cave that you're living in.
Ouch.
Aggressive.
So harsh.
Salty.
So harsh.
Salty. If you don't know,
type in something, FFXIV.
If you literally Google anything, we're on that page.
Humble brag.
We're on your search results.
Humble brag. Flex.
We do have that.
We are usually like first.
Yeah,
First,
it's
second,
true.
third?
It's true. Yeah, we're up there.
Depends on
we're
the
not
state.
normally this salty. It's just
people shouting pet food alpha in the chat. I love you.
Oh man,
you guys
no
are
way.
Awesome. But yeah, you can check us out. We do have the write up from the press conference Q&A from FanFest.
Yeah.
There's nothing great in it, but if you want to, there's not. There really isn't.
Right now.
There really isn't.
I mean, we
Form
got to
your
have
own
a better.
opinion and let us know in the comments of the articles. Because
I mean, at least we got like Blitzball out of like the one from Frankfurt a couple years
like
ago.
Blitzball. You're just ready to. Hear
No, it was
about
actually
Blitzball.
a decent question
yes,
with an
it was a
insightful
good
answer. This was just like.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, check that out, gamerscape.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Gamerscape and at Ethys Radio. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Gamerscape. More Pet Food Alpha chat. You guys are awesome. That's awesome.
Dude, Final Fantasy XI, go play it, people. It's really good right now.
Jeez. All right, we are out, guys. We got some lore stuff coming up next. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good night, and enjoy the rest of FanFest weekend here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I have to get down.
Don't break
down.
the
Get down.
Don't break the
It's a bomb. This is what I do when I
I didn't
yell.
break the chair. It was locked. Don't be a treat.
Hi.
We're waiting for people. What's up, chat? You guys got some questions for us? We'll answer questions or something. We'll do a quick QA while they're wrangling up people. I thought they had everybody, but they didn't.
I was like, get off the stage. And then
I have bright lights in my face. I can't see anything over there. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about us, about Gamerscape, Ethys Radio, about FanFest, throw them our way here.
Thank you, Black.
And give us something to talk about to stall for time.
I'm going to say, though, I'm really interested from a trust perspective. Because as somebody who's experienced it, it's not a system that replaces humans. It's a system that removes downtime.
I am really worried about trust, only because I know why it was implemented in 11. Because nobody was playing 11. It's not. We're not at that point with 14.
Right, and that's.
Not
But like, I don't think that should be the fear. I think if you look at it, like, my hope is and again, I'm an optimistic to a fault, but my hope is that if from a mathematical standpoint, we've always complained that the open world itself is not dangerous. You know, it's like literally because they have to balance it whether you're a black mage or white mage, a warrior or whatever. Like you need to be able to like get through the world. With the trust system, it gives us the ability to say the balance is going to come from the fact that we can say that you're going to have at least 4 people with you, you know, or you know, a 4-man party. That means the world can be inherently more dangerous because we know you're going to have a tank and a healer.
Like breaking this thing. Stand back.
And so,
tablet.
if that's what this means, I think this is a real positive because essentially, if we want to play together, we just kick out the robot, and the robot's not going to feel anything unless we give it too much daggum AI. I'm almost cursing.
Yeah.
Don't make these they freaking dick up freaking robots.
The game is already so solo friendly. I don't know if we need trust.
I would say from just a conversational or discussion topic, is Final Fantasy XIV a single player game? And I would say, yeah, it is. It has an MMO, but it's a single player game.
Yeah.
People are shaking their heads. Oh, come up here.
Come up here. We're waiting for other people. Like whatever, jump on up.
This is what I call a discussion topic.
We'll do a super awkward transition.
I drop a gauntlet. Tell me why 14 is not a single player game.
We got Real Yeah, these chairs are weird. Watch out.
Yeah.
Asking where Steak is. He's not here. He doesn't play 14 anymore. But you'll be happy to know if you're a hardcore PFA fan. Squig is here. We saw Squig. She's doing well. So,
Brian, do you?
Hey.
Do I own again?
Are we still one down?
You raid.
Do I raid? Yes. Not Savage.
We're still missing.
So for you, it's kind of a single player game, is it?
Well, I still play with friends. Right. But the raid scene isn't the single player game that I'm referring to. Do you play and do you do these fights as a single player?
No.
Like any story fight, you bring a friend with you.
No, I don't bring a friend, but I'm playing with other people.
But you queue up by yourself.
But you cannot like
well you do extremes though, like in Duty Finder stuff. For me,
Robot
I don't
Extreme
do that stuff. I
is
just
a
queue
single
up and,
player fight.
I just queue up in like for dungeons or whatever, and no one ever says a
I
word,
do
and
the
it's like I'm
raids.
playing a solo game.
Right. So it's interesting, isn't it, that our experiences are so different. It's almost like Final Fantasy XIV is a game that facilitates however you want to play.
Yeah.
With
Which is the point that you're trying to make.
I'm just saying that there is. I said it's a single player game that sits on top of an MMO.
And for some people, it's an MMO that sits on top of a single player game.
Yeah. No, I will accept that absolutely.
I think that in so many of these discussions about the nature and the structure of this game and so many other games, so many people fail to take responsibility for the player experience.
Oh yeah.
And don't seem to necessarily understand that like a good part of your experience of a game and your enjoyment of the game, the way you play a game, the way you perceive a game, is really what you as a player bring to the table.
Your investment.
Right. We're not just sitting there being passively spoon-fed an experience.
It's like if you're in a classroom and you're like, I'm not learning anything. Like, are you listening to the teacher? Like, are you doing your homework?
Yeah.
You know, et cetera. Absolutely, yeah.
So I think to say that Final Fantasy XIV is any kind of game in particular is reductionist, I suppose.
Okay, so what's your take on the trust system?
What's my take on the trust system? The trust system is allied NPCs, but
it's like a slightly more advanced AI pet system.
Is it a more advanced AI system?
We're assuming.
Worried about
presumably.
We've been doing the allied.
You've always told us
Squads.
Yeah.
Thank you. The squads. Yeah, we've been doing the squads, right?
I mean, have we though? Like I
could
care less about the
for
squads.
The sake of it.
I hate that system.
My first reaction was, how is this going to be different from squads? Yeah. Is it going to be different from squads, or is it just going to be squads and
It's squads, but your squad members are your Stola and Thancred.
Right. Is squad still going to exist over here that we just ignore, and it's a system that's now forgotten, or is it just like, is this an evolution?
I mean, I think we could think of it that way, in the way that Eureka is an evolution of Diadem.
Right.
Maybe squads is a way of kind of testing the waters, and this is what they were always planning on doing, something like this.
Yeah.
But is it going to be better than squads, or am I still going to be tearing my hair out?
I feel like it'll be samey
at Thancred,
right?
and You stole her.
It's interesting because coming from 11 and playing with the trust system there, the battle system is obviously much slower. And that slowness allows for a lot of leeway when it comes to AI. If you then compare it to 14 and like Eureka, because Eureka is probably the best, the closest example of that kind of mindset in this game. Combat is way faster. It is, and to the point where, as a healer, I should not be the party leader because I'm either going to find a party member or someone in my party is going to die. That's how fast things can happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this AI because I feel like we might have been training the system.
They did say, I believe I recall, that the system with the trust characters, you could use them individually. So you could go with 3 of your buddies who don't want to risk picking up a rando. And
this is where like the super weird RP stuff starts, where you can like pretend to like romance somebody. Like I'm just gonna like take.
They already do that.
No, but like you can like literally take Y'shtola out and like go somewhere.
Please no.
So are y'all ready to discuss lore?
We're still waiting on one.
Okay, I just didn't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. And
we're still waiting on one. We had. Let me see here. Dragon King Slash asked, "What do you think they'll announce for Final Fantasy XI in December?"
Oh man, if anything else is probably going to
we'll switch like totally like crazy top. Like so we'll go from 14 to 11.
I honestly like if they pull a Diablo Immortal, that's really going to hurt me because it's that I just don't play mobile games. It's just not what I wish I could. That's like fair. It's just maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. It's just like no, my phone. I don't want it when I'm not at work. So as far as it goes, if Final Fantasy XI Mobile is finally shown off, as long as it can run on something other than my phone.
Get an emulator.
Well, yeah exactly. Like, if I can do the emulator, that's going to be perfect. But it's like, honestly, at the core of it, if it could run on my Switch, that would be the ideal thing for me. That would be the ideal thing for me.
I think at this point, the problem is they're all, like, way too committed.
Oh, yeah.
To,
I mean,
to
at
the
this
mobile
point,
idea.
you're
would love.
committed.
It's supposed to be being done in Unreal, which is like, you could put that on PC, like, super easy if you wanted to.
And it's not that it has to happen day one. I mean, all they need to say is that it's coming to mobile, and we're considering other platforms. They don't even have to commit to it.
That's what I would like to see.
You want them to lie to you?
Well, it's not a lie. Any business is going to look to see if there's demand.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Any business looks to see.
Well,
if there's
and I think part of it too, when they announced it, like 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now. I forget when they. It's been a while.
And we've
been
only seen
quiet since then.
And yet Final Fantasy XI's surging.
The bulk of our.
I mean, it's surging right now.
Yeah, the bulk of our mobile information has come from like random like Nexon job post listings. Like that's not how you release information about a game. I hope we see mobile.
It's on our schedule.
We know that like Yoshida said in an interview. I want to say it was Dual Shockers.
Yeah.
That there was something coming up to kind of liven up 11. And that PR would be involved. I'm hoping it's more than just this refriender website that they just launched.
Yeah.
Which it's
super cute.
It's cute. It's neat, but you also don't log in to verify that the account you say you are is you, and you can't register multiple characters.
Seems extremely useless at this point.
It's a bit limited in areas, and there's like zero security.
Didn't they have just like a different thing that you could log on via Play Online? You're going to have no idea what I'm talking about. It's very similar, except it's not an app. It was for the computer for 11.
I think so.
I don't remember what it's called. So it's already there. All they had to do was squish it onto your phone.
I do seem to recall I had a system like that.
Yeah.
You could talk to people and learn.
Oh, where you log on the website to send messages?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do that when I was in school.
Aww.
I was like paying attention to class. I'm like, yo, you want to like go farm Sky later?
So Ethys, what's your hot take on Blue Mage and the fact of this concept of quote unquote limited?
Ooh, I mean, we got to be anticipating a bit of backlash on this. I think the conundrum would have been we can create a job that is a healer or a tank or a DPS that is called Blue Mage and that looks like Blue Mage and has some Blue Mage animations, but it's not going to feel like Blue Mage that people want, the nostalgia that people have for Blue Mage. This is a difficulty that Yoshida's talked about in developing a lot of jobs. Like, he was always really, really worried about the way Red Mage would play and whether that was going to meet people's expectations. And I think that they've probably been looking at Blue Mage since at least A Realm Reborn and just walking around in
They need to find the right way to implement it.
Exactly.
And
they did.
And they've had to make this decision, I think, between compromising Blue Mage as a concept and turning it into something that's not a Blue Mage but just looks like a Blue Mage.
You just call it,
Yeah. Or keeping it segregated from the rest of the content that would be impossible to balance around like what an actual like proper blue mage would play like and would feel like. And it seems like they've gone with the latter. And it seems like they're going to try to implement the more successful kinds of side content, you know, like Eureka, like Palace of the Dead, and they're going to basically spin a new angle on that and be like, okay, hey, maybe we can have jobs that just operate there in that space where things like, you know, balancing doesn't really matter. But people are going to be frustrated because there are people that mained Blue Mage and have had this nostalgia for Blue Mage and get excited at first and think, well, hang on, I can't raid on Blue Mage.
Right.
I can't raid with my friends on Blue Mage. I can't go and do hardcore content on Blue Mage or even like, casual content. Well, so you just can't balance it with around like a party composition, right? So are we going to end up having a rule where you can queue for stuff as Blue Mage provided the whole party is Blue Mages? And you have 8 Blue Mages?
Or do like, what's the unsynced party?
Yeah, right. And yeah, just having like a party full of Blue Mages, but one's tanking and one's healing, one's doing DPS. They've all got just like different skill sets.
Right.
There's nothing saying that they won't eventually get it to the point where it can be joined with the other parties, though.
Well, it would just be so absurdly difficult to balance and take such a ridiculous amount of resources.
I think the nice thing about Blue Mage, though, is one of the things that, you know, is a constant request for the community for this game is they want to see something new. They want to see something different. And they've done this a couple of times, and we've had certain areas like Diadem and Eureka. And I think that, especially with Eureka, it's one of those things where, yes, it's different, but they also kind of, I don't want to say like force you into it, right? But if you want a relic, you have to do Eureka.
Do it. But it's still not required.
And with Blue Mage, it's that thing where, yeah, it's kind of weird and outside of the norm, but like there's like a million other jobs you can play.
At least 2.
If nothing else, it just seems like an interesting test ground.
All right, so we do have everybody here. It's time to talk about some lore. So we're gonna head out here, guys. We will see you later.
Good chat, lads.
Good day.
You can just stay here.
Yeah, you can just get comfortable.
Enjoy your seat.
Oh, okay.
Ethys will be entertaining you while the people, everybody else comes up on to the counter.
Oh my! So as Brian says, we there's been a lot of lore implications today, and for those of you who know me, you know I like to kind of spend at least a couple of days avoiding talking about things and implications because I like to digest things. But little did I know, we've got someone here who's been digesting it for how many times have you read that manuscript?
Probably 4 or 5 since I got it, but
just 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
I also don't believe you.
4 or 5. You want to add like a 1 and 2 zeros to that?
No, I've been up to my like eyeballs and RL stuff. So, but yeah, it started in August. It feels good to be able to talk about it. Oh my god.
It feels so good to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
So even when I went to talk to Koji when we first got to Vegas, I was just like, hey, if people have the lore book now, are we allowed to talk about anything? He's like, I wouldn't, like, just to be safe.
Well, let's clarify that in a moment. But first, we've got the lovely ladies from MuseCast here.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
And Amy. I'm Ethys Asher. If you don't know me, I'm not dead. Hi. What's up? I'm a little bit jet lagged.
Some kind of hippie Australian.
Yeah, something like that. And we have the one and only Anonymous with us, if you can believe that, the real lore expert. Not just this.
We're just the second-hand people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you're on YouTube more.
Yeah, no. You definitely brought a lot more people to the cause, I think.
Oh, well, I try. So, Anonymous has been, how would you put it, proofing?
Yeah, just editing, general editing.
Proofing and helping with the editing for the Encyclopedia Elzeo Volume 2. And he's been under NDA for a long time about that. And it's been keeping him up at night. And we can finally talk about it, which is good because, like, I've gotten maybe halfway through. And I was kind of stressing about this because I've known that I was going to do this for a couple of days. And I've really known that Moose already has it all internalized for a couple of hours. Thanks for that.
Did you find any errors yet?
Not yet. Not yet. I am going to. Oh, if I find any.
I did see somebody call out an error, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
I need to go back and double check on it. Yeah, like there might be a couple. Might be a couple listings. That almost
some might say that in a way, Moose is almost like it creator.
Accidentally, incidentally,
Like, id creator.
The idea that the lore is like this monolithic thing that makes sense and is coherent, it's like it's all Koji and Oda. Like just putting together all of the discrepancies and incoherencies that were in the original source documents and building something very stable out of it.
You know, I was talking about the misspelling that you got called out on.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, the misspelling. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, id creator.
Id creator.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just missed it again.
I'm sorry. Id creator.
Too.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So yeah, you've got it all internalized. Can you talk about the process a little bit? Like it's fascinating to me personally.
I assume it's not a proprietary process, so sure. It's like an Excel spreadsheet, and everything that is like in a section is in a cell. So it's actually really hard to proof. And they give you one massive Excel spreadsheet, and they're like, okay, you have 3 weeks to get through all of this. And the only way I was able to really do it was like copy everything to a Microsoft Word document and like have it read it to me.
That sounds excruciating.
It really does.
Oh God, the high-tech world of Square Enix.
It was a lot of hours, but it was fun.
How long did it end up taking you overall?
I didn't measure. I monitored the hours for the first 2 or 3 days, and then one day I fell asleep doing it and got up and did it for like 6 more hours. And I was just like, whatever. Just whenever I'm not sleeping, I'm going to work on it until he's done.
It's not like you can count the number of hours that you've volunteered outside of this already.
No. We were just talking about
to contribute to lore.
Like if Moose had
so
been doing
what does it matter? The hours that you were paid.
Every claim that was made, I tried to fact check somewhere along the line, but little did I know they do the same thing. They have a lot of internal stuff that they do a lot of the same checks with. So the chances that we were going to miss the same things were pretty high.
You're just better at it. Demonstrably better.
I'm less tired.
You're demonstrably better.
Slightly less tired.
So it's like a less
That's my edge. My edge was I got to go to sleep when my eyes.
But it wasn't
were
your
falling.
day job. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a less tired other level of review.
They were definitely running on fumes. Like it's so much respect to them seeing what they go through on their end.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Because they're all working, in localization or in the writing teams and all that, right? So it's just the fact that this gets done, the amount of like excessive overtime that has to be done to put these in our hands is just it's mind blowing. It's fantastic.
And they're like doing it on top of their regular job.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And you can just tell some days that they're just like, I need to give this my all, and I don't have all to give.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm very, very impressed that they're able to put it together within under the same 5-month crunch that they had before.
That's insane. That is that's incredible. So what's your favorite new piece of information that we got? Because I know like as you're going through all this stuff, like they say that 80% of it is new or I guess underused material, but in reality, like there's probably a lot of things that you see that haven't been put in game, but you're like, yeah, no, I already worked that out. But were there any like serious curveballs for you?
I really just like that he pulled the Lambs of Dalamud back in, because I asked Oda-san one day, like just to clear it up, like when we go in and we clear them out of M to Porky Part, I think it was, is that it? The Lambs are gone? We're done with this whole story arc? And Oda's like, yeah, they're gone. And Koji's just like, no, they're not gone. And Oda's like, well, if they're not gone, you have to write them more stories. Like, I will write them more stories.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
And he finally got around to it, and it's like, I expected some small little hook that they were able to keep going on, and instead they tie it to the Zayla, and now there's this whole other thing that might be happening.
Yeah, we've got this idea of like this global kind of timeless lunar cult that just keeps like, evolving and readapting like over the centuries and potentially over the millennia. And like you say, now we've got like this sort of Nama version of the Lambs of Dalamud. Where do you think that could possibly go? Because I never thought of Nama.
I mean, it depends on how much time we spend in the step, or if we start meeting them beyond the step.
I would live in the step.
I wonder if we're planning on going back to this step anytime soon. Like I know in the last patch we did, obviously, but
will we end up going back in 5.0? Do you think there will be anything like that? It's all speculation at this point, of course.
I thought I had a good grip on what was coming in 5.0 until this morning. I know nothing. Dude, I know nothing. I would have never thought they would embrace this side of the world lore, because it was like I've said this probably 10 times today. We knew it was possible. We knew it was a thematic consistency. There's this idea of balance, but I always felt that Elidibus was using it against us, and that we would never embrace it to that degree. And now it's the main story. What am I supposed to do with this?
It's interesting.
I have no idea
isn't
where
it?
we're going.
Like when you're talking about lore and you're speculating, there's always there's the things that you think are possible, and there's maybe a dozen of those, and then there's the thing that you want, which is always the least likely of those things, and you never want to say it aloud. And I feel like this is kind of one of those scenarios, isn't it? Where it's like,
yeah,
we knew that this sort of thing was possible, but we never thought it was likely, and it's.
My whole
is it
plot.
awesome? I think it's awesome. I think it's
I do
fantastic.
too, because because I didn't expect it. I think
Yeah,
it's awesome
yeah.
because I felt like I had a grip on it, and it was gonna Stormblood went by pretty quick because I felt like I had mostly a good grip on it. Some things shocked me, but I had mostly a good grip on it. But I feel like it went by quick, and it wasn't huge. And even just seeing this trailer, I'm like, okay, this is huge. This is not just a good story. This is not just good gameplay. This is something I have no idea what's going on.
Well, let's talk about the trailer then. So, Remix, what was your first reaction to the trailer?
They put in more voice acting. That was my first reaction. It was a different approach.
Normally we see, for example, the Stormblood trailer or the Heaven's Word trailer. There's nothing in there. It's just all music and everything. And so I loved the new approach, just coming at it from a voice acting angle. I loved it. But in terms of what was going on, at first I thought oh, we have your Warrior of Light. They're an archer. No, they aren't an archer. Are they a warrior? What's going on? And then all of a sudden we see this Dark Knight, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
I love that they brought back
They're
that
actually
1.0
a Dark
outfit with the bow.
I do like that.
He's the Warrior of Light. He can be whatever he wants to be.
It's true.
Yeah.
Can we have the Paladin Warrior of Light?
No. No.
Everything except the Paladin.
No. Why would he be a paladin? We can be a warrior.
So there's sort of two directions that 5.0 seems to be going in. There's the supernatural direction of the Ascians and the Light Dark and the Hydaelyn Zodiac dichotomy. And then there's the we're going to Garlemald and we're gonna go fuck shit up on Garlemald. Am I allowed to curse on this?
You just did.
No one's gonna stop you.
Yeah.
Too late.
Why
You
the
would have been
fuck
tackled
not?
from off screen by now. You're good.
That's two very different directions, and that seems like something that hasn't been done before. Though, of course, in retrospect, Stormblood was expected to be the Alamigo expansion. Then it ended up being a little bit of Alamigo and lots of Doma expansion.
Yeah,
That's true. I'm still a little, and by a little I mean massively salty about that.
I don't know feelings about that. So
I mean, I get the idea that there are a lot of people who are just gung ho about Doma. That's great. What about the people who care about Alamigo?
They don't even get to go to their city.
I know.
I felt really bad about that.
That's a good point. So the way I kind of feel about this, right, is in Stormblood, Arenvold first starts showing up in the MSQ, and so many people are like, who the fuck is this guy? Whereas, us that are a little bit more invested are like, yes, finally, Arenvold, come here.
Waiting to fulfill his
Come let
destiny.
me hug
It's
you.
2.0.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this expansion has kind of been a bit the same. It's like people think there's nothing happening in Alamigo, and well, there is. It's just less salient, because everyone's thirsty for here.
And it didn't help that. And it didn't help that a lot of the zones were kind of empty. Like when we go in, we clear out 40 or 50 people, and then we don't see all the people that we saved. And you just have to kind of put yourself in the moment and try to.
It's still a shithole.
Fill the gap.
Yeah. It's very much a fill in the gap. Whereas, for example, with Doma, you get the Enclave, you get to see the people who you've helped.
Yeah.
And you get to learn about that.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
Well, we did get a little bit of that with Alamigo, with the Saltery and.
But it's not so much as it's not as big of an extent as it is for the Far East. For the Far East, you see a lot more of it.
Yeah, totally.
And you kind of see it in the lore book too. The amount of just text on the Far East versus the amount of Alamigo.
We're a bunch of weebs. What do you?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you want? We're a bunch of weeaboo trash. They know that. We know that.
Still, we just have so many questions about what's going on in Alamigo. I didn't know, for example, that Browbond is now the head of state.
Well, I mean, is he?
Yeah, that's what his entry says.
Everybody
it does?
Yeah.
Head of state.
He is the head of state.
Again. I don't think that's technically inaccurate or accurate. I mean, they
No.
have a professional.
I
government
brought the
along
book
with
just
the
in case.
resistance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like if Raubon
if the,
says
if the
to do
resistance
something,
is the government,
yeah, yeah,
and they put him at the head of the resistance,
yeah,
it's kind of de facto.
Yeah, but it's a sort of like transitional period for them.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I think they have like a bit more of a difficult time transitioning than like Doma does.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they have a difficult time doesn't mean we don't want to see this difficulty. We don't want to experience it alongside them.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Like, let us experience the difficulty.
Well, we
I
still
don't
got
care.
4.5.
Yeah.
We've got one more opportunity for the Empire.
I feel bad.
Strikes Back.
Chat noticed that
For
the
the Empire Strikes Back.
Chat noticed that the iPod had fallen down until someone came in and propped it up. Like they don't know we're here. We love you, chat. We're sorry.
We love you, chat. Unfortunately, I can't read what's going on in the chat.
Yeah, I can't read you from here either, chat. I'm sorry.
We're both blind.
Yeah, I'm blind. I lost my glasses, so I've got the choice now between wearing my.
Wow, there's a
prescription
lot of people
sunnies.
in the doorway. Yeah.
Hello, friends.
Okay. Yeah, we were being urged to push it along because we got pushed so far back
So,
by everybody coming in.
The good part about not having so much information about Alamigo, though, is we get to fill in the blanks, right?
You mean role players?
Role players do. those of us who do role play are able to fill in the blanks that we don't have.
Yes.
Which is.
I mean, I do hope that we get them one day, but still. There's a lot of roleplay around the Alamigo and the Alamigo resistance and what happens now. And I mean, you could say that having not a lot of information makes things more open-ended. And I'm wondering if we can give a little bit of time to the new world visit feature, which is what I thought had the biggest implications for the RP scene. I am of two minds about it. I am of the mind, one, that there should be, you know, I've heard this before, but we all know about the huge community on Balmung. We all know about the smaller community on Mateus. Not many people know about the mid-sized community on Gilgamesh. But I've heard those named as the big three RP communities before.
Interesting.
By someone who isn't me. And having visited these servers and living on Gilgamesh, I can concur. I'm of one mind that says all the three of these should be on the same data center and they should be one big roleplay community of happiness and joy. And the other part of me says, no, that'll just kill RP for everybody else in every other data center. If we're getting a new data center and Balmung is the thorn in their side technologically because it's so congested, it probably will end up splitting off from Ether and being separated from Gilgamesh.
Yes.
So part of me is excited. You know, at first I was excited to be like, oh man, my Gilgamesh character can go visit Balmung anytime. Well, maybe not. And who's you know, to say what's going to happen to Mateus, the RP community there. So there's no way that this feature, I don't think, can make anything worse. It can only make things better than the current state of things. Because the current state of things is you can't visit any other server. There's no way.
Yeah, you're right. Well, unfortunately, we have got to push on.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people in the doorway, and we're gonna actually cut short because everybody's been pushed back so far, and let them go. Especially because you can't hear us, and we just noticed.
Brian just loves to talk. He just loves to talk. So we love you guys. It's nice to see you all. What's the next thing? Hi, Nate. What's the next thing?
What's happening, guys? All right.
Come on in.
Hi. So how we doing all? So we're going to get, like, rapid fire a couple of last guests in here.
All right.
And then I think I'm going to be able to say my goodbyes from out on stage.
All right.
So thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love you, fam.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and sit in the hosting chair. All right, let's get She Heals, I Tank, and Chili. So we're starting to run low. We're starting to run super low on time here, guys. All right.
I'm gonna stand.
Oh God, that's
Cool.
so tall.
Yeah, you can do that. Just make sure to crowd the microphone. Just get in nice and tight.
Hello. Oh God.
Come on, you guys can share this mic, and Pete and I will share this mic.
Yeah.
Hey everyone.
We're having a rapid fire our last couple of guests here on the stream. So we are getting ready to wrap up tonight. This has been obviously an incredible night. and so many people here. I can't. I'm floored by how many people are here. But real quickly, guys. So wanted to get a couple of reactions to what we saw out at FanFest. Chili, I'll start with you. What did you think of what was shown off today?
Oh my God, that Blue Mage!
Yeah,
that was the Blue Mage was my hype. I really can't wait for that. But the trailer itself, I think it was their best trailer they've shown for a teaser so far.
I think it was the best that they've had since End of an Era.
Oh yeah,
End of an Era.
End of an Era was better.
Yeah,
but compared to Heaven's Ward and Stormblood.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, what about remind me what your character name is again?
I'm Avi.
Avi.
From Shields I Tank.
That's right. So, Avi, what did you think about what was revealed out at FanFest today?
Okay, so I'm like a little bit of an unpopular opinion. People are like super upset about the Vera being the new class, but we're gonna get sexy male men bunnies in thongs with heels.
Are we sure about that? Like, are we 100% sure that there's gonna be a male version?
Freaking do it. They gave us Gulka as Rogadin with male and female.
Right.
They gave us Mikote as
Right.
male and female. We had better get some male Vera bunnies with thongs and heels, or I am gonna riot.
I can't remember who had said this, but somebody had said that they want like you know how like the Ora, the men are much taller and the women are very petite. They wanted the exact opposite, where you had the very tall, slender bunny women,
I would like that.
and then like short, stocky bunny dudes.
No,
That'd be really good.
I want them to be like maybe equal height, but I'm like picturing like super long, awesome legs. Give me that butt slider with a little awesome bunny male butt with this nice chiseled jaw that's just like, yeah.
You have a laundry list of like requests here.
I do.
Announcement for Europe's going to be the butt slider.
I want it so bad.
Thank you for giving it to us.
Please give me a butt slider.
So, Vegan Pete, get on in here. What was the thing that you were excited
The
most?
highlights for me were really the hairstyles. Ethys Asher had a very like pineapple-y hairstyle.
Nice.
And Emmy, who was dressed as Nanamo, had an awesome hairstyle.
Nice.
That kept me up until about 1 in the morning.
Excellent. Here, Sly, I'm gonna let you slide in on my spot. You guys just keep talking about what was awesome at FanFest.
Ah, sweet.
Oh, Sly, we can talk.
I think what's awesome is Sly's coat. I really love this velvet coat. I made him hug me twice.
Talk about this coat.
Twitch TV, Mr. Happy.
So guys, this is something that happened very.
You gotta like kiss the mic.
This is something that happened very recently.
All right.
Read Ethys Asher's Twitter. You already know about it. But there was a press conference earlier tonight. We're allowed to talk about this. And, there was a bunch of questions, but there was one question in particular that was super interesting, and I hadn't considered it. But somebody spent 9 minutes asking Yoshida-san what his stance was on in-game paid RMT sex.
Oh
my God, yes.
And brothels.
Well, it is a thing. It is a thing in game.
But it's consensual.
Yes.
He made sure to clarify it's consensual.
Okay, so a quick straw poll. Who's for it and who's against it?
I'm
for it.
I'm for it. I mean, oh no.
I'm indifferent and I don't give a crap.
I agree.
But at the same time, it just...
That sounds like a cop-out. What's your opinion?
It doesn't matter.
Yes
it's against
or
the user
no?
agreement. That was the answer.
Oh.
So it's against the user agreement, but at the same time, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. But at the same time, this was a press conference, and we got this question.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, this is a wonderful week.
Oh no, what a shame that I missed that press conference.
Yeah. As far as like my highlight for this weekend for I guess the keynote and everything, the trailer did what it was supposed to do, hype us.
Yes.
I think we got more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
We
from
definitely
the
got
trailer and the announcement.
Yeah, and it felt like like you said, it felt like End of an Era.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Mike about it, and this felt so, Answers-y. And,
Yeah, it did. It really
and
did.
of course, Japan's gonna get everything we get. Nothing, literally.
We actually got a lot though.
I
We
feel like
really
we got
got
a
a lot.
Yeah, we got the name of the expansion. We've
got
got
a
a
job.
new job. We've got a new race.
Okay, in comparison to
basically
what
another job.
in comparison to what Japan gets.
But that's because we're the first one. We're the
We-
teaser. We're the foreplay.
We weren't supposed to be the first one.
But we were, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're number one.
Well, you're
Do you
number
think-
one.
Do you think we're the most needy? Do you think North America is the
Yes.
most
Yes,
needy?
we are
100%.
We have become entitled. That's the problem. We have become so entitled after two.
Welcome
two
to
thi-
America.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
Such a great song.
America.
Rubicon Vale and Yelta Sumasu gather together podcast.
Twitch.tv/gather together.
So
Just knocked
what
over
were
your mic.
like what
I
were
actually-
your highlights?
Yes.
I'm excited about multiple jobs because I was a little disappointed.
Can we get a
Mom,
yeah,
I need
exactly.
that healer.
Can we get a
I
hot
really
take?
hope one
Can
is
we
a
get a hot
healer.
take on what you think the jobs are?
Oh, I actually have no idea.
we did
I'm
You
not,
have no
I
idea?
am not good. Okay.
Wait, well, Blue Mage is kind of obvious.
I don't know about
Geomancer Dancer, but we need a gunblade.
I had
job.
What do they call
Geomancer
that?
Chemist, and I'm wrong.
Okay.
Aw.
I want dancer.
I would love it.
So my hot take is dancer, gunblade job, arithmetician, or calculator.
So you think we're gonna get 4, or are you just hoping?
Yeah.
They could surprise.
Yeah.
But we already know that Final Fantasy players hate math.
Math is
Wait,
hard.
prime numbers. Math is not my friend.
What's a prime number? What's a prime number?
It's a number that cannot be divided within itself.
Seven. Yeah. Like,
Anything greater than 1.
I actually gave an
don't
answer.
I don't have the
I had to
flavor
look
text
up
to
a
give me the
chart
prime numbers.
because I couldn't. I'm like, I
okay,
don't
thank you.
math.
You're good at math. I don't have the flavor text or the the little thing to click on that gives you the prime numbers before you go
You
in.
guys, a prime number is a number that can only be divided by one
you.
and
Yeah, the notes
itself.
told me.
The notes didn't tell you when you went in.
Are we really gonna go there?
School
Are we
told
really
me.
gonna go there?
But we got people sharing. We got 3, 5, 7, 13. Thank you, Scorpio.
Are you gonna do the whole Oscars thing? Okay. All right. So we're
running out of
getting-
time.
Yeah, we're getting Oscars off. Like so. Like
We
like,
got kind of
Cookie's
screwed
trying to
on the
play
time
music,
limit.
I
We're
don't
like,
know why. They saved
yes.
the best for last.
Yes.
Guys, I am so sorry because Anero is going to be on stage right now.
Right.
Special announcement.
So yeah. So we gotta
Okay.
go see Nero, but. Yeah, he's already out there and everything, but thank you so much for watching, everyone who's watching. Hi. How you doing?
we've had
Putting our talents together to be able to create something that is truly bigger than any one of us could create on our own. And the thing about, like one of the big themes about Final Fantasy, the game, the series, is friendship and finding the people that will help you find who you are in life. And I have to thank everyone that has ever listened and has ever checked out Limit Break Radio in the entire 13 years that this has been a project. Thank you. If you ever gave any money, if you ever subscribed to our channel, if you ever even just downloaded one episode and said, these guys are assholes and I don't want to listen to them anymore, you did more than we could ever have asked you to do. And truthfully, if it wasn't for these people right here, if it wasn't for my LBR brethren and sister, we would never have gotten the opportunity to make Final Encountercast, and it would have never led to the opportunity that is Checkpoint Radio. And Checkpoint Radio is something that is wholly unique because in the world of video game media, so many things come out of IGN and GameSpot, and we came out of Central Michigan University. Out of the basement of a dorm room on Central Michigan University. You could probably not even find that college on a map if you tried. But yet here we are. We persevered throughout 13 years of people telling us that we were crazy for getting into podcasting, and then people telling us that we were crazy for getting out of it and getting into radio. And here we are. It has been truly an incredible ride. And it was the Final Fantasy XIV community that put us on your backs and said, yes, we are willing to put up with these idiots' antics because it's fun. You guys proved to us that we could do it. You guys gave us the confidence to be able to try to pull it off. And for that, I can't thank you enough. This party was just one small way to be able to say thank you, but our careers will be the true way how we will thank you, because we are out there to represent gamers, gamer culture for what it is. It's not some inside baseball thing where we're like, let's get the gaming industry out there. No, we are gamers. This is what we love, and we wanted to build a place where we could all talk about it. And so thank you guys for your participation, for your calls, for your, love of Limit Break Radio. And hopefully we will see you in the future for Checkpoint XP. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and celebrating an amazing ride with my amazing friends. Thank you. Have a great rest of FanFest. And you all need to leave by 12:15, so get out.
12:15. Don't remember that. You guys know that. Thank you all.